Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy, I go by just Jeremy this week.
And this is Aaron, I go by Advanced R&D is the best card in the game. Keep it forever.
You son of a bitch! Cut that, cut it.
Definitely not getting banned.
Cut it.
Definitely. Working as intended.
We have to restart.
Alright, some quick announcements. Parker, you're down to 1,902 probationary episodes.
Yay!
Boss.
Congratulations, you're getting back to a reasonable number. Getting out of the big 1-9 would be a big deal.
Yeah.
However, we need to calculate the bets placed at Showme. So let's see. Kenny bet 800 episodes he would win the event.
Yep, so that's got to be deducted.
He unfortunately did not, so that's going to take you up a lot.
I did bet that there would be 2 fully painted new Ghost Riders. There wasn't any. That's going to be 1,500
yeah. How many did you bet?
1,500.
Ooh.
Go ahead and add that in. Yeah.
Well,
that was a bad idea. That was bad judgment.
I bet 2,300 that a Malekith list would win the tourney, though, so does that just cancel out?
Oh, but you missed the deadline, though, for bets. It's just after betting closed.
Just under the wire.
Sorry, Parker, I tried.
That would have helped.
Can't win them all.
Shoot.
All right, Parker. Do we have any news today?
No news.
No news.
None.
Alrighty. So in other news, though, we had the Showme Showdown this weekend. It was a lot of fun for me, barring all the terribleness. How did you guys have fun?
Yeah, I had a really good time.
What was the terribleness? I'm curious.
Mostly the storm and not having power and basically working 10 days in a row.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't terrible for me.
That was great for
us. Because you guys were playing games and relaxing. And
I actually entirely benefited from you doing all of those things, so I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you several of Parker's episodes for that.
Oh, okay.
Is that helpful? Is that a solve? A salve?
I don't think that's how debt works, but yeah.
Oh. Had a good time. The little grab bag stuff that we got, the swag, that was some of the best swag that we've, I think, ever gotten. That was the most useful, ever, all-time gaming supplies. Yeah. Very cool.
I had multiple people asking me if they could get extras.
Did you smack their mouths?
No. I just said no.
Did you spit in their face? Did you spit on them?
I wanted to.
Did you give them one of our Chinese T-shirts that said "Infamous" or whatever they say on it?
I don't know why you try and ruin my life like this, Jeremy. I've done nothing but work for you.
I'm
but
never
anyway,
letting it go.
In all seriousness, we had a pretty good event. It started Friday. We did a warm-up tournament. About the time the warm-up tournament was wrapping up, because it was just a little, basically shake the rust off event, that's when the storm started rolling in. And then we started realizing that we might lose power because a lot of people didn't have power. But conveniently, the venue was safe and everything worked out great. But then upon returning home around 9 o'clock, I found out that I didn't have power, which was a little annoying because we didn't have air conditioning and it was hot and humid and I couldn't charge my phone. And conveniently, all of the cell towers near me also didn't have power, so I didn't have cell service. And so I was just alone in the dark. It was quite fun.
As nature intended.
Yeah. So then back-to-back 3 hours sleep, go back to the convention, start the qualifier. We got 24 people. It was a little bit smaller than I was hoping, but, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's summertime. We started up. Do you guys want to talk about your games in round one? If you remember. I know some people played a bunch of games.
I'll start.
All right, Parker, how was your round one?
I actually got to play a delightful game against a longtime friend of most of the people on this podcast. I think almost everybody knows him. His name is Tim. And he and I have hung out at cons playing War Machine for, 8 years and stuff like that. So
Speak for yourself.
Every time I've ever hung out with Tim, I've had a really good time, but we thought about it, and we don't know when was the last time we actually got to play. So we finally got to put models on the board and roll dice, which was super fun. He's normally a Web Warriors player and all about it, but he was trying something new this time. And now the affiliation he was playing me eludes me. It makes me sad. I can't remember precisely.
He played Asgard. I believe.
Asgard.
That's right. It was Asgard, and I played my Avengers Don't Touch Me list, and we ended up getting Paranoia on the first turn. I got Paranoia and a D deployment. I think it was Extremis, and I ended up scoring 6 on the first turn, and he scored 4. Like, this was a pretty high scoring game. And then on the second turn, he decided to try to do his Thor versus my Gwen and Black Panther. I think it was Gwen and Iron Fist against his Thor, and it didn't work out. I had plenty of attacks, and he couldn't really devote a lot of energy or time to it, and I dazed Thor, and that was kind of it. I scored 6 again, and he only scored like I think 3 at that turn, and I was just way too far ahead, so I won on turn 3 on points. But it was still a fun game. Like, he saw a couple places. They could have made a couple decisions. I think he also he really wanted to play a couple models, and so he was purposely putting him down just because he wanted to do new stuff, wanted to play Asgard, and afterwards he realized he probably could have done a different strategy from list selection and had a better chance. But it was still a really fun game because Tim is an awesome person, and it was fun. It was really fun to play him and hang out.
Yeah, Tim's always fun. I think this is the first time I've ever actually seen him play in an event. He's usually running, kind of like me. So if you've ever traveled to Adepticon or Warfare Weekend, he's usually running their Marvel stuff, and he does a good job.
Yeah.
Jeremy, do you remember your first round game?
Yep, I do. So I played, I think he was an out-of-town guy. I'm not sure which group he was from, but his name was Skylar. He had brought, it was an iHulk with Guardians. And I had brought kind of a weird sideways take on what to do about the meta right now. And we lined up, and I had a couple big guys, and he had his big guy and Guardians, and we kind of smashed in the middle. We're playing 15 points, so we kind of knew exactly what we were going to do to each other. Smoke cleared, and I bounced off of him, and his Hulk, did what Hulk does. He ended up getting me. It was kind of really the only game that I was taking very seriously, trying to, win, so I could progress in the tournament. But after that, after you lose the first one, which I lost, I was able to just kind of like play the rest of the games with a let's do this and keep it interesting and just have fun. So it was kind of nice just to take the pressure off. He played a really good game. He did all the things that he should have did. There wasn't anything actually that interesting. That's one thing I will say. People have been kind of mentioning stuff about competitive games and what's the difference and all of that, and expectations, and typically you don't see that much interesting shit when it comes to a super competitive game and like expectations. You find that they kind of do the things that you expect, and you're doing the things that they kind of expect, and it washes out somewhere in the middle, and one person's going to end up win it, either based on a mistake or based on some dice, or a pay to flip or something. So the reality was it wasn't that interesting, unfortunately. But he did get me. So, yep, that was the game.
Cool. Aaron, do you have any fun anecdotes from your first round?
No, but I have a shout out.
Okay.
So I have played a total of 25 games of MCP since we last podcast. That might be a record. It might not, but it's a fuck ton. So all of my games are a blur is the short takeaway from that. Right.
Would you like to give you some reminders of your game?
I have them up on Longshank, so I know who I played in the score. But so long story short, you're not going to get a bat rep from me. But I played against one of the Vredenberg twins. They're actually not twins; they're cousins. I think Zach.
I thought they were brothers. Are they cousins?
We'll find out on Thursday. I think they're cousins.
Okay. But
they're the brothers, cousins. Anyway, I want to shout them out because I just think they are awesome people. And we can kind of leave it at that. But just great opponents, good at the game, that I think they can take their game to the next level and then start competing to like win stuff. Like I think they both averaged about 50-50. One was 3-2, one was like 2-3. But at a tournament, you'll have people who are fun to play but non-competitive, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have people who are super crunchy, like I am, to be honest. And then you have people like them who are fun to play and good. So, like, I could lose to them. Jeremy, you in fact did. Spoiler alert.
I know.
But they're just they're great people. And it's exciting when you find people who are good. And when I say good, I mean like a good human being. And who are also good at the game that you could either see getting better at the game. Because those are the type of people I think you want to encourage to continue to develop in the community. So a shout out to Zach and Josh, because I think they're great human beings and good MCP players. Anyway, I decided to randomly take Web Warriors to this tourney after not having played them for several months. Just trying to run away with shit and score on scenario. And Zach brought Emma Frost and Hellfire, and Web Warriors just does it a little bit better, so I just outscored him 16-10.
Cool. Yeah, Zach and Josh are one of the groups of people we met when we ran our big team tournament. They apparently have been playing in the area, but just not at a game store. And so because we advertised so much on the team tournament, they found us, and we've been playing with them intermittently since, and they've been good guys. Okay, so moving on to round 2. Let's see here. Parker, do you have any fun anecdotes from your round 2 opponent?
So in round 2, I played somebody I was really excited just to meet because his name is Patrick, and I saw on just the tournament thing on Longshanks before it began that somebody was playing Sentinels. It was Sentinel/Hellfire, and I was like, oh, I want to know who's trying to play Sentinels, and then I ended up getting to play him in round 2, and he was so excited to see my list because the first thing he said is, man, I really want to play Sentinels today. I'm excited about it too, but I keep playing against everybody who has, size unlimited throws, and I just feel like I can't do it. And he looked down at my list, which is just tons of size 2 guys, no throws. And he goes, oh, I can play Sentinels. I go, you could play Sentinels. And so he played Sentinels, and sadly I got a dedeployment again. I think it was Extremis even again. And so he learned a lesson that a lot of us already knew, which is Sentinels just really struggle to spread out. And so he only played 2 of the Sentinels Prime and one of the standard ones. And then he played like Bucky and a couple others. But spreading out wasn't enough, and his 3-costers that were around could never do enough damage to my guys because they're designed not to take damage from the 3-costers. So the Sentinels never really got to commit hard enough, and I won on turn 3 with that one too, just scoring points. It was still just it was really exciting to see somebody play Sentinels. It was sad that he didn't get the scenario he wanted. He at the end of the game, we realized, and we talked about how he just really wanted to play Sentinels. We just kind of forced it into a place they probably shouldn't have been playing. But it was still a fun game and awesome to play against something that you don't see very often. I love people taking chances on dark horses, and I'm glad he was doing that.
Cool. All right, Jeremy, you're round 2.
So my second game, I did play Josh. I wish I could remember more about the game, but what I'm looking at here was probably enough to tell the story. Montesi and Gamma, I've been playing Dormammu the whole time, so I got to land that one, and I ended up winning that game. I'm sure I just blew it up.
I believe this is the round you walked over and told me that you triggered Dark Miasma 3 times on one attack.
Yeah. I mean... I was playing Dormammu and also playing Heimdall in there, along with probably his buddy Baron Zemo. So I was fishing for rerolls and stuff like that. So it was just kind of janky stuff. So I wish I remember the game more. Oh, I do remember him walking into a few times where Heimdall spanked him while advancing in with some rerolls attached to it. And it was just one of those games where I think he learned a few things about Dormammu and Heimdall. But as Aaron was saying, really super fun guys to play. He was really fun to play, and we'll see more of him in the future.
Yep. Aaron?
Okay, round 2 ended up playing Landon from Omaha. Shout out to those, I think 5 of them who drove down. Thanks you fellas. He was playing Asgard into my Web Warriors. I only have 2 anecdotes from this. One was round 1. He was very hesitant to get anywhere near my Voodoo, which was good for me because I was going to steal a ship without Voodoo. It didn't need him. And there was an extra turn where I wasn't getting beat down by his Asgardians. And then I think he failed a dice roll late to kill Miles with 3 extracts. Anyway, the game ended up 1911. It could have been 16-14 me had Rhino gotten it. So I think I was still going to win, but there was a swing there that made the game look a little more lopsided than it was. It was a good game.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, heading into round 3. Parker.
So in round 3, I got to play against John. Spoiler alert, John ended up winning the entire thing, which means I lost.
Wow, you're just ruining this entire process.
Yeah, it is. And so I got to play against him in round 3, and I showed in round 3 how much I don't know about playing into double monsters. He was playing Malekith and Immortal Hulk, and I have never once played against it. And my incredible inexperience showed. I've played against Hulks before. I've played against Immortal Hulks before. I played against Malekith before, and I felt like I had plenty of things to deal with. One of them, I purposely teched against it for my list, and I felt like I understood it, but I had no idea what both of them needed and both what of them wanted. And I from literally the very first opportunity I had to choose something in the game, which was the point value, I just immediately chose the wrong point value. Like that was the very first thing that I made a mistake on. So so now I know so much more about that matchup, which is to say, you don't give them, the points they want. You don't give them the characters that they want to see. You don't give them the deployment they want to have. There's so many things that I could have done differently in that game to make it closer. It wasn't a blowout. The play I had on board was fine because I did know what they do. At least I wasn't surprised by what they did or what they could accomplish. But it was a real uphill ice skate because of some key choices that I could have made to make it more difficult for them to get everything they wanted. But he got everything he wanted, and so he ended up winning. But it was a big learning experience for me, which is always good to have a really good player playing a strong skew list, and now I know more about it. So
cool. Jeremy?
Okay, so this was Revenge for the Brother.
Fracture Side number 2.
Yeah, so this one is a classic. I complain about a D scenario all the time, and sometimes I don't know what to do, and this is a classic. I did my best with it, and he played an Emma Frost game, and he circled on me. He just kept circling and circling and circling and scoring and scoring and scoring, and I just kept chasing. And I didn't know what to do. I tried to kill, and while he was scoring, I was trying to kill, and I just couldn't catch up. So I didn't really score much. He scored a lot, and that's what happened. He got me. He just straight up got me. Like, it was an Emma Frost game, classic, where I'm like, I almost got somebody, and they all just healed themselves back to full and had more power than me, and I don't exactly remember how it unfolded, but I'm sure there was models that I probably should have killed with Malekith, but I didn't roll it, and those kind of things, whatever. But the D scenarios never help. They're just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But he got me.
Cool. All right. Aaron, round 3?
My round 3 was into our WC teammate, Aaron England, a la Spell Shock. The only thing I'll say about this game is I won't say never, but you should think very hard before you concede a game to your opponent. Mm-hmm. There were 2 times when Aaron went to shake my hand to concede to me.
Like, what about twice, though? Like, think very hard before conceding the first time. The second time, just immediately concede, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, no. I refuse to accept your concession. We're going to play this game out. I ended up going to 15 points, round 3 or whatnot, and then he conceded to me the next turn, and I was like, okay, stop. Why don't you move here instead of there? And then we tie. He was like, oh. So this might have been a part of, like third round of the day, all back to back.
He was very fatigued at that point. He had just come in the previous night.
Yeah,
I know he was not making. He had a little bit of the brain fog going on.
So had I been a little more cutthroat, I just shake his hand the first time and I walk away with a win. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play a game out and come to its natural conclusion.
So this was more practice for you guys at this point, anyway.
Yep. So we ended up tying round 6, going to round 7, and at that point, his Midnight Suns just were finally able to put my Web Warriors into the dirt, and he won 23-19.
Cool.
Good thing he conceded earlier, and you got that win.
Yeah, good thing.
Alrighty. Round 4. Parker, what can you tell us?
So, I went to round 4, and I got to do what I always want to do when I go to a tournament with lots of folks from out of town. I get to play against Aaron. So I played against Aaron round 4, and it was honestly, I don't like. Now I'm getting to the point where all the games are starting to bleed together for me too. I can't remember.
I can remember this game very vividly because you guys started 20 minutes late because you both took bathroom breaks. And then you guys went to time. And so I'm over here like, we literally, every game was finished except yours. And then 30 minutes later, your guys' game ended. I'm like, we have 22 people standing here waiting for Parker's game. Yeah. I was just like, God damn it.
Actually, that was the second time because in the warm-up tournament the day before that, I played against Perrin. And we nearly went to time there as well. Mm-hmm. And we were both like down to like less than 2 minutes. And it was the best game I've ever played like low on time. Because that's something I've been trying to work on is if I'm getting low on time, playing cleanly, letting my opponent know what's going on. Don't try to rush them or myself, but still doing things in a timely fashion because, we've both been making sure all the effects are happening. And so it was that was a textbook one. My one against Aaron, no, not so much. It was me. I stared at the board a lot, just trying to see how not to lose. It was very much, I never felt like I was going to win. I just felt like I needed to figure out how not to lose. It was an uphill battle. Now I remember what it was. It was a B scenario, so that was Infinity, right?
And Scrolls.
And Scrolls. So there was a lot of points on the board. But Web Warriors was definitely advantaged because you're going to get more out of your power than I was going to get. I had to kill your guys, and I couldn't kill them very fast. I tried to be really aggressive about it, and I got a couple things down, but not quick enough. And it really was just it wasn't a death by terrible margin, but the all webbed up turn happened, and it just caused too much of a separation of points. It wasn't a lot to recover then.
Alrighty. Jeremy, how was your round 3?
So this round
4.
Yeah, round 4. I played Jeff. I'm not sure where he was from.
He is a friend of the Omaha guys, but he actually lives in Kansas City.
Oh yeah. He is kind of he lives closer than I was thinking. So he must. I don't think he plays a ton of games. He hadn't seen research before and hadn't really read it, and a lot of his effects he wasn't really using to full effect, and I reminded him of a lot of things, and the way the game was going was more of a, are you sure you don't want to do this? And, here, let me, are you sure you don't want to, no more mutants that? Because that would be really painful for me. So it was one of those games where I knew I walked face first into, letting him beat me. But that was okay. We both were completely out of the tournament. Who cares, right? Let's use your cards, do your things. Let me show you what you can do to me. And that's kind of what happened in this game. And super nice guy. The game was fun. I got to use Dormammu and blow stuff up. He got to use Scarlet Witch and blow stuff up too. So it was a fun game. He ended up outscoring me. And there was only a couple models left on the board at the end of the game. And it was pretty brutal and it was fun.
Cool. All right. Final round 5. So we, because we had 24 people, the way it basically works out is it's 12 undefeated, then 6 undefeated, then 3 undefeated. So we had to wait until round 4 was over before we knew if there was going to be 5 rounds. Because if the pair down loses, then it's over. Conveniently, Perrin and Aaron England our other two WTC teammates got paired in the 4th round. And so they're playing against each other, and Perrin is the pair up, and Aaron is the pair down. No. So if Aaron loses to Perrin, the tournament would have ended.
Perrin played Kenny, but otherwise correct.
What? Oh, sorry, yeah. My bad. Kenny, not... I'm thinking of a previous game. Am I? Oh, yeah, it was Kenny. My bad. My memory is shot from the weekend. So, yeah, he was playing Kenny, one of our locals, not Aaron. And it was a super close game. They were battling out for a while.
Yeah, 17-16 was that score.
Mm. Alrighty. Parker, how was your round 5?
So I got to play against Tyler Watts, who is a local. He and I are very good friends, a fellow teacher. He was actually sure he was going to drop if there was a round 5, and then my name came up, and he was like, "Wow, I can't drop. We got to play. We're going to have some fun." And I was super proud of him because he really wanted to play Midnight Suns, but he was just kind of skeptical about going, all in with just Midnight Suns, and he's like, "Maybe I want to play Defenders a little bit." And I was like, "Well, you could just put the planes of Poldock into your list and play Midnight Suns." And he goes, "Oh, I guess I could." Not planes of Poldock. The portals of Farla.
Pentagram of Farla.
The Pentagram of Farla. And so you just put in the pentagrams, and you could just play Defenders if you want to. Just switch. And he goes, "Okay." And so after he lost his early rounds, he just decided, "I'm only playing Defenders for the rest of the day." And he actually won. He was 2 of 2 going into that round, but both of his wins were with Defenders. And he goes, "I love this portal thing. It's so much fun." And so I go for it. And so he decided, he's like, "I don't think in this scenario I'm going to play Strange." So he actually made Wong his functional leader, played Defenders with Immortal Hulk and the portal, so that Wong could play the portal down and Hulk could go through it. And on turn 2, he put the portal near Hulk, who was fighting Crimson Dynamo by himself, because Hulk had thrown Crimson Dynamo back towards his own board, and he was really just stuck in the middle of nowhere. My whole little cloister of heroes that are supposed to be really good synergistically defensive together was missing Crimson Dynamo because he got stolen by Hulk, and he was holding on to an extract. And so he played the portal so Hulk could leave that fight after he killed Dynamo and come back, but I still had priority. And so Dynamo immediately uses his thrusters, because he gets enough power with Cap, uses his thrusters for 1 to jump onto the portal, went through the portal, and then double walked all the way over. He literally crossed from one side of the board to the entire other side of the board, and now he's standing next to Captain America. And after that, Tyler goes, "Oh, this is what you were telling me about how portals could be a double-edged sword." I go, "This is what I was telling you about. Portals could be a double-edged sword." I had exactly 2 power to walk through without doing anything else. And so because of that, the way it was positioned, he couldn't get his Immortal Hulk through without using all the movement tech, like his jump and both of his actions, just to walk. And he's like, "Well, I can't do that." So Immortal Hulk committed to something else that didn't matter, and so I won because Immortal Hulk never really got to commit hard into what was happening until Crimson Dynamo was powered enough to just turn off his wilds. So that game was much more in my favor. Again, I know what Immortal Hulk does, so I played against Immortal Hulk. But man, still, I learned a lot still about what Immortal Hulk plus Malekith can do, which is a different monster altogether. But it was still a really fun game with Tyler while he was playing Defenders. And I am challenging him personally to just hard stick with Defenders for a while and just champion that. I think it would be super cool to have somebody just really strong with Defenders in this community. It makes me happy.
Yep. Jeremy, you're up.
So everything lined up perfectly for my round 5. This poor soul.
Oh yeah,
Bobby.
I don't know if people remember this, but Jeremy's tired of playing against Thanos.
Well, the only way to play Thanos versus me is if you pay money to do it. And it has to be to a tournament organizer, and then I will play it because it's set up that way. Well, this gentleman has Guardians Thanos as a possibility in his list. And when people see that he has that option, they start goading him into doing it. I
was the goader.
Yeah, I don't even know that he was really going to do it. I don't know. But
no, sure. he gave me the thumbs up when I asked him, and he's like, "I'm doing it."
Well, he did it. So then I proceed to unload absolute hell upon him. he has no defensive tech whatsoever. There's no recal. There's no safety options. There's no safety tactics cards. Nothing. He catches both barrels of Malekith and Dormammu, and just gets completely flattened. By turn 3, he's gone and off the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then I basically table him the rest of the way down. And I'm just like, I apologize for everything that happened. My eyes rolled back like a shark. I blacked out. I woke up. I had a fistful of hair.
It's like a doll size.
Yeah, I had like a fistful of hair. I'm like asking people what happened.
He didn't know that you were forged in the fires of losing to Thanos for so long that like you know all the tricks and like what he didn't know.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that game was pretty brutal. No hold barred on that one.
If you play Thanos at a tournament, I'm not going to call you a bad person, but you deserve everything that comes to you. So, like, and that includes me. Like, when I play Thanos in a tournament and it goes sideways, I'm like, yep, I deserve this. Like,
and I mean, I saw the tactics cards, and I kind of saw what was going on there. And had he not played Thanos, like, I could see, like, he, I'm not saying a newer player or anything like that, but, like, his tech wasn't there for me to believe that he was going to school me or, like, take me off the board.
Well, so, Thanos has a weak matchup in Malekith if he doesn't have all the fixins to keep him safe. And he didn't have those.
No, he didn't.
So it was a bad matchup already. Yeah. And then you also know how to play the matchup.
So yeah, I was like, you're catching it. Had he not played Thanos, I would not have both barreled him with... if it wasn't an option in his list, I wouldn't have done a Malekith Thanos drop or Malekith Dormammu drop on him. But no, he caught both barrels on that one, and yeah, he deserved it. That's what.
Alrighty, Aaron, you're up.
Okay, I ended up playing against Alex from Omaha again. Great guy. He played X-Men into my Web Warriors. Again, Fuzzy Haze. I do remember going up early on scenario and him needing like. Again, you're on your back foot when you start turn 2 or turn 3, and you just realize you read the tea leaves like, oh shit, you're gonna steal that, you're gonna score that, you're gonna push me here, and he's just like, I've got to make some plays. So he realized it, and none of them panned out. And then just taking it 16-11 on a classic Web Warrior scenario win.
Nice, cool. So congrats to John Paul George from Omaha. He ended up winning the event and qualifying for LVO. He also won Best Painted. He has a beautifully painted Midnight Suns plus Malekith roster. I talked to him a lot about his painting. I'll probably be adding the glamour shots our professional photographer took during the event. So I'll probably be adding those to the Infamous page just so people can see his work. But it was really good stuff. And then finally, moving on to day 3, we had the team tournament. Due to weather and emergency cancels, we unfortunately had a small turnout for the team tournament, but I think everybody had a good time. We had 4 teams, and I guess, what was your team called, Aaron? It was something creative?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That was a really good name. Then we had 2 of the Omaha teams, and we had a 40KC team play. Do you just want to talk about the final round? Do you want to talk about it at all? Because you're the only one here from your team.
Sure. I'll look at the games real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So both our team and then the team with John Paul, who again won the overall event, won our team games to meet in the team finale, if you will. We were playing Avengers, myself, X-Men, Perrin, and Kenny with Guardians. We ended up matched into myself, Avengers, into David's Shield. Perrin's X-Men were into John Paul's Midnight Suns.
Suns, yep.
And then Kenny's Guardians played into Alex's X-Men.
Yep.
So we got the matchups we wanted. Like X-Men, we basically put our X-Men down and gave them the option of Shield or I-Hulk. And we were like, well, they didn't put X-Men down there, right, because that's bad. And so Perrin got I-Hulk, knew not to pick over 17 threat, and wanted to just run away with points. And I think it came down to just a dice roll on the last turn, which sealed his loss.
I do know their game was super close. I walked over several times. I'm like, oh man, this is a spicy game on both sides. And then I did not get a chance to watch it
I think John said it was the best game he had all weekend. So apparently played him really tight. I ended up winning my game against Shield with Avengers by just putting a shit ton of attacks into She-Hulk and taking off the board turn 3. And then Kenny ended up losing because his Guardians with Cosmic Ghost Rider. Cosmic Ghost Rider is great until he rolls 0 for power on 2 consecutive turns. So his Cosmic Ghost Rider did shit and ended up losing. That's the anecdote. I don't know if it's true or not.
I played a couple games of Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I found that when I actually rolled high and got a bunch of power, it actually screwed me because I really needed to be able to contest. But yeah, it's pretty brutal. There are 2 games, at least from this weekend, that I recorded that I'm extremely excited to watch, which is something I have not said in a very long time. But because I saw little sections of the game, I'm like, oh man, I really want to see how this whole game played out.
So I have what I think I want to create for the website or the podcast or something, but a what would you do question, maybe on a weekly basis.
Like a quiz?
Not a quiz. So I want to present someone with a game state. And this has happened multiple times over the past week where I've been like, man, top of 3, tie game, I have prio, what do I do? Right? I don't think there's necessarily a right answer. Like, this is the risk reward for each decision is so different that I don't think, depending on the circumstance, there's necessarily a correct answer. But what I think is if you ask 20 people, you'll get at least 10 different answers for how they would approach that turn.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is really interesting, because it's sometimes hard to learn from your games. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I made this mistake. But when you get to discuss with other people why they would do option A instead of option B, I really think there can be some good learning there. So
I think that's...
Go ahead.
I think it's my favorite part of the game. It's just like when you get in those spots and there's so many different options and all of them are legitimate. That's my favorite part of the Marvel. When you get to like try and figure out what the best option is, like what's the best way to lead off with this new branching options.
Yep. Because it's like your entire turn encapsulated in one decision. Like, again, we've already discussed I'm a worst case scenario. So I'm going to go here, and if this doesn't happen, what else do I have? What's plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E? And if that just leads me to a loss, then I'll start again. I'll be, okay, I guess we're going to go with someone else. Or if all of those end up just being bad, I'll go, okay, well, let's take the most reliable of those options. Or if I'm down on points, I'll be like, nope, we need to shoot for the moon. Like, we need to get the trigger. And I'll just throw all my chips in on that decision at top of 3 or something to that effect. But just having sort of that, again, just like, I'm going to date myself, when you would read a newspaper and you'd have the little chess question, like how many, or sorry, not chess, bridge. They'd have a little bridge question. They'd show the hands and they'd be like, what's your bid or what's your next move? And then the next edition would have the answer for the previous day's question. Something like that, a snapshot of the game state. What would you do? And then we discuss the various options and why one may or may not be better than the rest.
No Quarter Magazine used to do that for War Machine questions. They used to have little, what would you do segments where they would show you a situation. It was cool.
Yeah, you could do a screenshot with TTS, right?
Yep.
Just do a screenshot. That'd be cool.
You could also, I can do a frame capture from any of the battle reports as well.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting weekly kind of post.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a good screenshot the next TTS game I play.
These should be called WWJD for What Would Jeremy Do?
Oh, don't do that.
The answer is always
no.
Run forward and attack.
Always run forward and attack. Spend all your power.
Yeah. Do your biggest spender into their biggest model and just see what happens.
And then die to bleed.
So yeah, in closing, we've got, 19 or 20 more battle reports. They're going to be going up over the next couple of weeks, all from Showme. So that's going to be fun. Jeremy, I would like to tell you something. Are you ready?
No.
No? You're not ready?
I'm ready now.
Okay. This isn't a joke.
Okay.
I've had several people come up to me over the last few days and tell me that the league should have been called the Limbo League. and not the street level league.
Go fuck yourself.
I'm just telling you. I'm giving you, feedback from your peoples, and they're like, man, it just would have been so much better if it was called the Limbo League.
What does Limbo have to? Jesus Christ!
Because you gotta get under 6.
Yeah, I get that part, but that part is stupid.
Some people don't think so. It's just you.
You are not worth 2 votes. You know what people say about you?
Nothing.
You're stupid.
You're stupid.
Your face is stupid.
Your face is stupid.
I thought it was
criticism.
ED really is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was the micro penis thing.
Oh.
Jeremy, did you hear what Yoda said when he saw himself on the HD monitor? HDMI.
Nope.
No.
I like that one a lot. I like that one a whole bunch. I don't know why the Yoda grammar jokes are the super low hanging fruit of like t-shirt humor, and I don't know why, but every time I appreciate it. I don't know what it is about it that makes me so pleased, but it pleases me every time.
I can tell Jeremy wasn't pleased, so I have to hit him again.
You go for
it. I was fired from the keyboard factory. They said I wasn't putting in enough shifts. Parker's so excited, and you guys are like, I fucking hate my life.
If your job was to make Parker chuckle, you're working overtime. I think that you were very successful. You're very successful at this.
That's fun.
I'm just glad that everyone thinks this is awesome and just keeps sending you these. This is good.
Mm-hmm. I believe the HDMI one was from Tyler.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I assume he's now kicked out of the street level league. I used air quotes for people at home.
You'll be amazed at what people are going to get when they just punch you straight in the nuts the second they see you on Thursday. It'll be. Don't worry, I'll PM you all with what you're going to get bonus from this league for that. It'll be cash prizes. Actually, I'll just
cash prizes,
actual cash.
What's the cat? I'm not following. Like, I understand that you're trying to be mean, but I don't actually understand.
Oh yeah,
are you saying that you're going to just give cash to people?
Oh yeah,
and
just
that's
slug you straight in the crotch.
Oh, you're going to pay them to hit me?
Yeah,
I see.
Just an absolute, just right, just cock knocker kind of thing.
I don't understand why you would imagine I don't wear a cup with the way I live my life.
That's true.
I definitely wear a cup.
Yeah, you're like, ever since 1998 happened. God.
I was once legitimately, I once incited a small riot in a store due to, I can't remember, I said some dad joke or something to somebody, and he got so mad he chased me around the store for 3 solid minutes. But the guy was 45, so he ran out of gas. And it's just I'm just running in circles around the game tables, and eventually he calmed down. He was like, I fucking hate you.
God.
All right.
The league is going quite well, though. We did have we had 14 people sign up, and then we have more interest from overseas. What are those? Where are they from, Parker? Your friends?
From Guernsey?
Guernsey, yeah, the Guernsey.
The Guernsey people signed up, both of them?
they sent me a letter. I got it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
They're very interested.
Did you reply via post?
A Raven, actually. I'm not sure if that'll make it, but we'll see.
The Ottawa guys did say that they were interested, and there was a couple other people I talked to about it that were also vaguely interested.
What I think is funny about it is because the losses don't matter so much, and everybody just keeps lining them up and knocking them down. It's like they'll take a loss and then just set up another game immediately. Like, let's go. Another one. I do like that about it. Yeah.
I played one game of the league. I don't know if you saw my report.
I did. I saw it.
It was against a teammate.
Well done.
I've noticed that I probably shouldn't have signed up for the league because all I actually want to do is play 6-pointers. And so I doubt I'll play that many league games.
I mean, really, I think most people are turning in their points. It looks to be somewhere around 2 to 3 points anyway. So, I mean, getting 1 or 2 games, maybe even 3, is about all people are really turning in. So
it's still fun to have like a purpose and a point to like the game night.
Yep. People walking in going, what are we doing? Who are you? What's going on? Let's do this. And it keeps me shifting. Like I started doing Black Order, Corvus Leadership, just jacking around. And you know what I'm excited about? How much I hate that stupid 3-point Black Order model that doesn't do anything. Supergiant?
You mean the really, really good model?
No, she's trash.
She does 2 things really well. She doesn't die, and she gets lots of power. But those are the 2 things she does.
So I was checking our next segment, and I don't know if this is any kind of news, but the Atomic Mass forums is down for an update.
Uh-oh.
It says, update in progress. We're sorry. Please try again later.
Oh, fuck.
So I don't know if we randomly, because, I mean, they've been announcing a lot of stuff on Thursdays lately. I don't know if maybe something's
They're getting
happening.
rid of it. That's it.
I mean, anyway.
Interesting.
I'm now going to Asmodee's website to check for new calendar stuff.
Parker, what are you enjoying for the league? What are you running?
Oh, I'm going to be running Hydra.
Just running some Hydra? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just got a bunch of Hydra models back, and I'm really excited. I actually went down in the tank for Hydra for a while, and I came up... I'm definitely going to be doing Hydra for a bit, because I really enjoy Hydra. However, the model in Hydra that I'm most excited about also happens to be a criminal leader, and that's MODOK 2, the new MODOK.
Yeah.
And I played him as a criminal leader once, and I zigged when I should have zagged, and I thought about doing things like really offensive with him, but most offensive ploys with him, or like ways to take advantage of his leadership, are probably better done by something like Daredevil, right? There's already a 4-cost leader that kills things. So now I'm looking for other weird things that he can do, or rather that MODOK kind of facilitates with his leadership, like having MODOK as your leader and Killmonger as an in character, and do things like weird things like do that, and Punisher lets you maybe get like tons of VPs off of tactics cards, which I think would be interesting. Like, what if you played a game where you got 5 VPs off of tactics cards? Would that be good? Could you do that by turn 3 to like win? I've been staring at that. Also, things like who's the best model in the game actually for MODOK's leadership, and I think it might be Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme, because you get to reroll his dice so much, and he loves wilds on attacks because he has Pierce, and on defense because he if it's being attacked by energy or mystic, he gets to do the energy block thing where he turns your dice and gets energy back. And so I've been staring at that, going that could be really fascinating. I think if you draw hammers and you're playing criminal MODOK, you just windmill slam down Doctor Strange, and you just go to town. I was rolling dice to see like what happens. He averages like 6 hits with Pierce when he has 2 hammers. It's nuts. And he can get 2 hammers on turn 1. If you get priority, he gets 2 hammers and hides with them. If you don't have priority, he still gets 2 hammers, and he's kind of stuck out there for a little bit. But like I said, if you're facing off against people with energy attacks, that's how they have the ability to hit you, then you actually don't mind that much. You're probably defending too hard. Like, there's a bunch of funny things you can do with him. So right now, I built a Hydra list, and I'm probably going to play that first, but I'm staring. I literally have been staring at this criminals list for 2 days, trying to figure out the last 2 models. Like, how hard do I go all in on this tactics card plan? I might just play it a whole bunch and find out if it works. Can you score 5 points by turn 3 off tactics cards? That's probably good. But is it really a pipe dream? We'll find out.
Cool. Well, my from the forums is now ruined because I can't tell if they answered my question or not. So I guess we'll have to leave that alone. Boy, I sure hope there's some news in the next, hold on. I want to get this accurate. 9 days. No, wait. 15 days.
What's 15 days?
It's, what do you call it? Gen Con, which is conveniently the week after the update. goes live.
Gotcha.
One of my favorite things about any sort of large tournament or any sort of convention that I've ever been at is afterwards, it really jazzes me to look for corners of the game that haven't been explored yet. I know you guys were, participating in a Discord conversation that somebody asked, what's your opinion of the meta post tournament? And you guys had some really, great points. I say you guys meaning Jeremy and Aaron. I know you both contributed to it, but as I was reading what you were writing, I was thinking about, like, what do I think about the game after I go to a large convention? And my first thing I think about is I look at all the things that I saw there and I go, okay, how can I do not all the things that I saw there and still expect to win some games? That's always the first thing I go to, is I go to the other corners of the game. And I immediately start thinking of other ways. Or if I saw something there that I thought was really fascinating, but it was, for example, I saw so many Immortal Hulks, and I've seen it so much in Midnight Suns. And I was like, where else could Immortal Hulk go and be interesting? And so I started thinking about other places he could be found and how he could be really useful. Specifically in like a tournament situation. Like, how could you put down Immortal Hulk in a tournament and somebody go, oh shit, I had not thought about doing that with Immortal Hulk, and that gives you an advantage just because it's a surprise, as opposed to the same thing they've seen, the same thing they know, because everybody the zeitgeist agrees it's the best way to play Immortal Hulk. Aaron and I had a long conversation about whether or not you could play Immortal Hulk in Hydra with the tactics card
Agent.
The double agent, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Sleeper agent.
Sleeper agent. We're both wrong. But
Sleeper Hulk.
Double agent is the Spider-Woman card.
Right. We were just talking about how everybody agrees it must be, Hulk 1. He's just best, right? And doing anything else is silly. And so I convinced myself, at least, that Immortal Hulk has a different use for it and maybe just as good, or maybe it's better. I don't know. I need to play it more. But that's the kind of thing I love to do after a tournament, is I see what's going on all around me, and then it gives me excitement and inspiration in a way I don't often get in the lull between big tournaments. I don't usually get like really jazzed about an idea in between tournaments. It's right afterwards. Like, the drive home from a big tournament is always the most exciting part of a tournament for me in terms of like creativity. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was playing Shield, and after I kind of put them all away and stuck all my models back on the shelf and started, laying my cards out again and thinking of what I wanted to do for the Showme tournament. And I started getting myself excited again. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is why. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about these. That there's going to be Mortal Hulk, and we know that there might be a Thanos, and there might be, there's going to be Malekith and all this. And it really jazzed me up again, because the game has to always have innovation for me. That's one thing I enjoyed about Magic a lot, is the thinking about the cards and economy and best choices and how to veer. Like, okay, if they're going to take that, then you need to take this and whatever. That's one of my favorite parts of the game, and it might be more fun. Like, I used to enjoy with Magic, like, I wasn't usually very good at playing Magic. I wasn't half as good at playing Magic as I was at building decks for people. Like, some of my best decks were played by other people. Like, we'd come up with it, and then they would play it to win, and that was amazing to me, because I was just never as good as they were. So I enjoy the building and the thinking about it even more than playing it. I usually stumble. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, the thinking about it and all that is important.
Cool.
And I think that's a big worry about this game. Like, if it really does break itself down into, there's 3 categories of lists and you have to play these things or you have no chance, that's the day that I'm done. That's the day that I don't want to do it anymore.
I know we've talked about lists are kind of polarizing right now, but I feel like there's a handful of like 5 models, like the usual suspects that you see in a lot of lists, that are kind of the causation of that. And so, like, we've talked about the big guys, but then there's, like, for me, it's more about the stealers. Like, the big models are strong, and that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Like the big three scary guys. But then, like, if you just look at, like, was it Black Cat and Voodoo, and, like, the effect they have on the meta, I think is actually worse.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I'm actually going to call them equal. But I think if all they did was address the big guys, like the big three, the steal meta would absolutely get out of hand.
Yeah,
it's already
it would just take over the game.
I played a game tonight into like Hellfire with Cat and Rhino. During the tournament, I played Webs, which had both Miles, Spider-Woman, Black Cat, and Voodoo. Clearly, trying to win on scenario by just stealing everything and not engaging with the opponent is probably one of the top 3 meta list archetypes you could play right now.
Yeah, it's just scripted games. Like you see the missions, you build a list that fits within the point total. Like, what was who was it that did the interview with the number 1 guy like ranked on Longshanks?
Vince did the interview with Curtis. Is his name?
Okay, Curtis was the player.
Curtis was the guy I played tonight. So yeah.
Okay, I didn't know it was the same person. That's cool.
I didn't tell you.
But like, he breaks down his A-Force list, and the A-Force list is literally just people who steal objectives and bodyguard models, and that's exclusively what's in his list. And all he does is steal objectives and turtle. And it's like, that's the entire strategy. It's like, I get that it's a viable strategy, but like, that's not interesting at all. Like, at least in the combat list where you see like Malekith and Hulk running around, it's interesting and like the choices you get to make throughout the game, and like your opponent can try and counter you by playing bodyguards and stuff. The most frustrating thing about the Steelers is like, they don't interact with you. It's like Black Cat declares a special ability, and if you don't have like shush, like you just watch it happen and she runs away. Like, oh, this was so interesting and cool. Like, it's just boring. And I understand it's very strong, but like, it's not a part of the game I really enjoy at all. I think having one Stealer that's costly is fine. Like, I think Enchantress is in a pretty good space because she clearly is designed around that ability. But Voodoo and Black Cat are just so much better that it's like, not putting them in your list, it just feels like such a downgrade to any list. And then when you look at like the big guys, the entire list is built around supporting those models, and that's not true of Black Cat. Like, Black Cat changes the game by existing, and if you're not playing her to make up for the fact that your opponent is, you're just at a disadvantage.
So
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I will slight disagree. So I will understand your point, agree with the majority of it, but also say that for me, I can also find enjoyment in the strategy and tactics of how to mitigate what they're doing. Because nothing is so broken that you have nothing you can do about it. Like, so I just played, he had Rhino and Cat with 3 power. I knew he was going to do it. Like, it's telegraphed. Like, start of turn 2, I have Prio. What can I do to mitigate what he's trying to do into me? And I just made horrible decisions and failed hard at the decision-making level. But I learned from that and would make different choices as to where to deploy and where to position my models turn 1 in a more aggressive stance to be like, okay, steal it. I'm still going to murder your ass. Anyway, so I agree. I understand your feelings on the matter. I also want to say that for everyone out there, there are 2 sides to that coin.
Yeah.
However, I would get all on board with, let's say, a rule. Okay, actually, I would be totally fine doing away with every stealer that didn't do it through an attack. I think that would make the game instantly better.
So, like, really, we're talking about Voodoo and
Voodoo, Cat, Enchantress, really. Pyro, OG Torch, and Rhino.
See, yeah, I have more of a problem with Rhino than Enchantress, like, by a lot.
That's just because he's also better in more other ways and infinitely more splashable. But
sure, he's very splashable, but it does take a tactic slot, and it's a one-time thing. I just think that card's really good.
It is.
So, let's see. If we were to just take Voodoo, Cat, Malekith, Immortal Hulk, and Thanos, and throw them in a blender, is the game better?
Yes.
I think so, too. I don't think any of them need to be deleted, but I think a small touch would be nice. I've been of the mindset of I'm going to avoid playing the models that I don't have fun playing, and so I don't play Voodoo. I don't play Cat. And they just actively take fun away from the game, I think. And I generally don't play Thanos outside of like practicing stuff. But I do really enjoy playing Malekith, and I like Immortal Hulk less, but still like him. And so I do tend to play those models. And that's just a playstyle thing, I think. Like, I'm obviously not the grinded out on scenario type player. I'm the smashy face player, so.
Yeah, along those lines, Jeremy and I played a game 2 nights ago? Yesterday? Now, Jeremy is also a very smash mouth player. But on turn 3, he had 3 of his models on his back board edge holding extracts. Mm-hmm. It was the most bitch move I've ever seen Jeremy do, but I gotta give him props for it, because he absolutely won the game by it, so.
I had a very similar, I think we were playing literally like right next to each other on the same 8-foot table, and I was playing your son, and we had a similar interaction. I've never done this before. I played Red Skull 2 in webs. Turn 1, he plays eyes, takes a damage, picks up the, trying to remember which mission we were playing. It was cubes. So he picks up the center cube and my back left cube. And then first activation of round 2, he double moves to the corner of the table. And it was just so weird. Because, well, he'd already taken 3 damage, so he wasn't exactly healthy. But then, like, Logan is standing there, like, I thought we were going to fight. And then he just, like, now Logan's running at him. Because, like, he can't let me have, like, 6 points with one model. Like, who's going to lose? I'm playing Whip Warriors. And so we played this very non-combative game, which I enjoy because it's, like, we were both actually making decisions. Like, every activation we went to, we had to sit there and think. Because, like, the repercussions of every activation was so meaningful. And so that was fun, and he even had a Black Cat, but because, like, I was already so up on points, him stealing one wasn't very useful, because I would just immediately take it back with Miles, and so it's like, she becomes this weird, like, you know, control piece that actually plays a game, as opposed to just pressing the button and running away. But yeah, it was a really fun, interesting game that we played. And we got to this weird spot where basically Logan finally catches up and corners Red Skull 2, and then he just has to annihilate him or lose the game. And so he dazes Logan, then Logan gets first activation, picks up the 3 objectives that Red Skull dropped because he dies to the cubes in the control phase. And then he just double moves away. And so Red Skull can't go get him. And then my turn is I activate Miles, and Miles just moves away right to where Logan was. They just like ships in the night run away to secure points. It was quite funny.
I had to use my overpowered affiliation of Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm. I do think he's undervalued.
Highway to Hell getting played for the first time in a year was fun.
Game, set, match, motherfucker.
I didn't have an answer.
My new secret sauce I want to try is Cosmic Ghost Rider in Hydra. Because every time he uses his chains to incinerate and drag somebody, he heals one, which is cute. So he auto-applies Incinerate, which heals him one. And he shoots somebody. He can also, let's say you actually stagger him, but then you forget and daze somebody. I've got your backs and shoots you and transfers the stagger to the guy who just attacked his friend. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that seems pretty strong. I mean, Ghost Rider's pretty insane. Like, for 6 points, he seems pretty crazy. But I think
he's not good.
I think he's a bit of a trap, though. Like, I think, like, if you kind of understand what he's doing, he. But then again, like, if he just simply dumps on you and dunks your ass, like, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, he can simply dunk you.
He's definitely scary. He can hit people hard. He's got board control. He's got a lot of stuff, and he's super mobile. But like, he's still like despite being a one-man kung fu SWAT team, he's still one man. Like, there's a limit to how much he can do. And in my games, I played him with Thanos twice, and I think playing him with tall models is generally a mistake, because you just don't, like, if you play him with Thanos, you're in for 14 points and you have a complete one contesting model. And it's just like, I can't do enough, right? Like, even though I have infinite board control, both of my models can move multiple enemies. It's just not enough. Like, you can't get there. Like, you can't put models on points. Even on, like, Researcher, it's not enough. So I think Kenny's correct. I think you need to play him in wider lists at least. Probably at least getting 4 contesting models on the board to give him a chance to prolong the game. But he does seem very fun, but I think that's what he is for right now. Until I see some new evidence, I think he's just fun. I don't think he's particularly good.
I think for the amount of damage he puts out, like, I think he needs to be treated like a very, like a larger model. Like, you just have to execute him or you ignore him kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
you score
definitely.
out. Like, you can't just kind of like nickel and dime. And like, I think you have to like treat him like he's a fucking Eye Hulk or, you know, any of the other monsters.
Yeah, be very cautious. I mean, because he's only range 4, not 5 like Bucky, it's actually kind of easy to stay out of the I've got your back range, unless he's very centrally deployed, and if he is, you can just probably kill him. Like, he's reasonably survivable, but he's got a lot of health, but like, I mean, he's not the most defensive model by any means.
He gets skulls on fucking collision damage. I don't know what the fuck that's about.
I mean, is it that big of a deal?
It's actually his skulls are actually better for collisions than they are like comparatively than other defensive tech, right? Because if you're actually rolling dice against him, he gets 1 extra side, but that's half as good as a martial artist, right? So, like if you look at it, you're like, well, I'm not going to roll dice against that thing. It's a martial artist. You're like, well, okay, yes, because their defense dice are actually better than your offensive dice. They are, but if you roll against him, your offensive dice are still better than his defensive dice. The only thing that are better that he is advantaged on above other characters is the dodge thing, because he's
but like Domino or anyone with the Reality Stone is still better because they get the additional die off the explosion.
Precisely, like he is not. He is. I think he just dies to like a rapid fire model. Like I think, like a Punisher could kill him. The Punisher could kill him.
So
it may take him 2 turns,
that is like,
but it could.
The problem with that is like they're averaging like 2, right? So they're like 2.5 hits. He pretty consistently blocks 2, like because it's literally the math. He's like 2.15 or something blocks per roll. So he's actually really weak to like medium attacks that add up. Like it's still hard to one shot him because he's got so many hit points. But if you just do like 4 6 dice attacks into him, that's pretty consistently gonna chunk him. And so he's usually afraid of like the cheap spenders, I think, is really what scares him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's good.
Like X-23s and stuff like that.
Yeah, X-23s will tear him up pretty good. Yeah. Because Pierce, like you're knocking down his math, like, right, because he's just 1 above average on blocks, and so if you knock him back down, then his health stops mattering as much. But yeah, I've seen him die very quickly in several games, and I've seen him not do much in several games. It's like he's not the juggernaut everybody assumed he would be. All right, Parker, do you have a comic corner for us today?
Yeah. So this comic corner actually is a little strange because I do not know if it's already been collected in a graphic novel or not, because it is specifically the post-Krakoan age Wolverine title, his own title, Wolverine. And if you look at the first arc that he has, it's basically issue 1 through 19, and it's interesting. It's a lot of the stuff that you'd expect, just like Wolverine adventures, trying to defend Krakoa, and it's fine. And then after issue 19, there's a big break in the continuity in the Wolverine title because you get the X lives and X deaths of Wolverine, which is something I've done another comic corner on, where he does some time traveling shenanigans to save Professor X before he has a chance to become Professor X, because bad guys are trying to get him. And then at issue 20 of Wolverine and moving forward, there is a new arc that is wonderful. And if you've ever read a Wolverine title, if you like the Wolverine character, you'll know that one of the most interesting things about Wolverine to me is his friends. Wolverine has made like some friends over the course of his travels, and this one really this arc really focuses on Wolverine and the way that he has cultivated some friendships and how they're frenemies, and some of them are really intense friendships, and nothing ticks off Wolverine more than somebody who messes with his short list of friends. So we see basically issue 20 starts off with, it might as well, it says it's a Wolverine title, but it might as well be about Deadpool, because Deadpool is approaching Wolverine non-stop to try to become a member of X-Force again, because he really wants to be a Krakoan and he really wants to be on X-Force, and the comic's just it's a 2-comic span of just Deadpool attempting to get on to X-Force over and over and over again by like applying, quote unquote, which takes the form of just begging on his knees all the way to trying to assassinate X-Men enemies, and just like bringing Wolverine heads of them and stuff like that. It's wonderful hijinks that are perfect. Wolverine being the best at what he does, and Deadpool being just as good at it, but Wolverine hates the way he does it. And then from that, there's a subplot that starts to come up with somebody is manipulating and targeting Wolverine's friends, some of the friends he's cultivated in the Krakoan age, specifically a human man that he rescued because it was a CIA agent who was getting too close to this cell of bad guy mutants, and Wolverine rescued him and ended up cultivating a friendship throughout the title, and somebody is using him as leverage against Logan. And that's all I'm going to say, but suffice it to say, he does not take kindly to that. And when you find out who it is that's pushing all the buttons, it's one of my favorite things about Marvel superheroes is when Marvel done this many times with Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four. He has an alternate reality version of himself that gets pushed too far, and all that genius turns to evil, and he begins rationalizing all these terrible things he starts doing, and pretty soon he's a terrifying, amoral monster. But to him, he's quite rational in all of his decisions. And you find out that there is a Marvel superhero out there that has rationalized this descent into insanity, and he's targeting Wolverine as his tool that he's going to cultivate into a new way for him to, in his mind, very rationally defend mutant kind. But as it turns out, he's becoming a monster. So if you'd like to know who the monster is and what he's doing to manipulate Wolverine, then read Wolverine post issue 20 of the new current comic. And it's still running, but that story's already been resolved, and you can keep reading it. It's wonderful. I am excited to finish it. I haven't got to the full arc end yet because it's not on Marvel Unlimited yet, but I am super pumped, so you can read along with me. Wolverine post issue 20 of the new 2022 run that's now in 2023.
Cool. All right. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover before we wrap it up? All righty. Well, thanks for joining us today, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to The Gang Speaks for the Trees.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
I'm tired.
Oh, yeah? Why are you tired?
Yeah. I don't know. Just lots of not sleep lately. Did a lot of yard work today. We had about a truckload of down branches in my yard.
Oof. Did you ever get power back?
Yeah, we got power back Sunday when I got home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like every tree decided to throw itself on people's cars and in their yards over the last few days.
We got so lucky. There's so many down trees in my neighborhood, like just on houses, on cars. Like, it was nuts. I guess for people that don't know, there was a big storm in Kansas City. It was like something like 100,000 people went without power for a day, and then like another 30,000 went without power over the weekend.
I was actually driving in the middle of it, trying to recover our new car, and a friend was giving me a lift. And as we were going, we saw a tree split in twain. like the tree, like one half of it fell down and the other half fell down. It was like, oh, huh, that's terrifying.
Based on most movies I've seen, at that point you're supposed to pull over, get a part of that tree, and either carve a sword hilt or a baseball bat from that, and it will then become the most important piece of tool you will own.
Well, it would be cool. It would have been cool if it was like a tall tree, or if it was split by lightning. But it was just like a Bradford pear tree. It was just like 20 feet tall, and it literally, like, the wind just peeled it like a banana, just slowly and not like strangely, just like one side, the other. It wasn't like some super dramatic. That was the part that was kind of surreal about it. Is because you're picturing this like kaboom or huge throwing limbs. Like, nope, just 1, 2, no tree. Like, okay. It was curious.
Yeah, my girlfriend's neighborhood got pretty blown up, and the storm, like, there was basically 2 different days that this went down. And the first day, a giant ass tree like exploded in her yard from wind or whatever, and it fell, and it kind of fell across her vehicle, which it missed her vehicle, then crushed her neighbor's vehicle, because she lives in like a duplex. And we're like, holy shit, how did it miss your vehicle? So then the next couple days later, the next storm hits, falls, another hunk of this tree falls, misses her vehicle, kind of like messes up her windshield wiper on the back of her vehicle, and then crushes the rear of that vehicle. It was like clobbering time for this dude's vehicle across.
Oh
man. It's like, holy shit, dude.
It's crazy.
The paint train has no brakes.
I have a cottonwood tree in my backyard. You learn a lot when you own trees you never owned before. Cottonwoods are extremely... They grow very quickly because they are extremely brittle.
Mm-hmm.
So I have what I call widowmaker branches that fall every storm.
Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking stuff that like takes 2 grown men to carry.
Oh god!
We thankfully have a little local dump for our neighborhood for branches and grass and everything, so we can just like carry it down there. I had to get the chainsaw out and cut it in 4 for the one we had 2 storms ago.
Wow.
I just keep telling my wife it's a good thing we're not out there when it's actually like windy, because I'd be dead by now.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably 5 times a year I have to get a chainsaw to cut these branches, like huge ass branches that are just being ripped off my cottonwood and thrown into the ground.
I'm assuming that this is the most annoying tree that you've ever owned.
That is a true statement.
Because I've only been around your tree for a brief period. I hate your tree. The amount of little cotton fuzzies it puts all over everything in the universe.
I think like native flora is fascinating, and I love how Kansas and Missouri trees, like Midwest trees, have gone like one of 2 directions, and one of them is the one you're describing, right? Like, just get huge as fast as you can, because you're definitely going to burn up in a fire, or you're definitely going to get ripped apart by a tornado. So just grow as fast as you can, like cottonwoods. And then there's like Osage orange trees, also called hedge trees. They're like the opposite. They're like grow low, grow slow, be as hard as fucking stone. Nothing will kill me ever. Like, that's like the 2 strategies, and I love that kind of variety. Osage orange trees are my favorite trees because they're just insanely stubborn and hard to kill, and they're the opposite. They don't grow that quickly or that high. They just stay low, and they are just hard as rocks. And
I'd say they're so dense.
Yeah,
they're so dense.
Yeah, it's there's an enormous, probably 200 or 300 year old Osage orange tree in the park not far from my house, and it's they're so dense, they're so heavy, they can't grow very tall, and eventually their own weight just kind of pulls them back down to the ground, and they elbow on the ground. They hit the ground, and they just grow back upward. There's like, gravity can't stop me, dirt can't stop me, I'll just grow back up again. Fuck you, gravity. Like, I just love, and my kids play on it all the time because it's so enormous. Like, both of these huge forks that are growing off of the ground are, as wide as a room. And one time their kids were climbing on it, and my wife was like, is that safe? Is that tree strong enough? And I go, you could park a semi-truck trailer on that tree. You could just climb straight up it. It would not budge. They're so insanely tough. I'm fascinated by the strategy.
Yeah, we had at my last house, we had this big fucking dumbass tree. I don't know what kind of tree it was, but it had these like seed pods it would drop that looked like brown bananas. They're like these what are they called?
Catalpa tree.
Yeah,
Catalpa.
Fuck that kind of tree.
Yeah.
That kind of tree is dumb as shit. Because every, was it 2 or 3 years, it dumps seed pods. And I mean, you will not be able to see the grass in your yard. That's how many seed pods it drops. It is fucking insane. And they're so hard to rake because they're heavy. And if they get wet, it's like trying to rake mud. Oh my God, it's the worst. And so, yeah, we would have to just go out there. It would just kill all the grass in your yard if you didn't go out and get it, like, immediately. And it'd just be dropping for months. Oh, it was so stupid. Then in my new house, I've got 3 big, tall silver maple trees. Mm-hmm. I was confident they were going to come down in the storm. They seem brittle as shit, but they didn't budge too bad. They do rain sticks a lot, but they're like little sticks, not like big branches.
Mm-hmm. Maple trees are one of those that like they do really well and they're super healthy and they're very clean until all of a sudden they'll just die. Mm-hmm. Like they'll just give up. Like a Kansas hard summer can just kill them instantly. You're just like, oh, was I supposed to water it? We had one of those happen. So we had a silver maple in our backyard, really old tree, looked really nice, really, really pretty. We got one really hot, pretty dry summer, and it just died. And I expected, the roots to die when I cut it down. Then the roots come back up a little bit, like sprouts or something. Nope, just straight dead. I asked a horticulturalist. I was like, was it a fungus? Was it a beetle? And they're just like, nope, just maple trees will just kind of up and perish, just hard. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, that'd be really annoying. Like whoever planted these trees, they terrify the shit out of me because they're so enormous. Like they gotta be like 60 feet tall. They're fucking huge. Mm-hmm. But they have amazing shade coverage, right? Yes. Because all of their leaves are way up top.
And they're really enormous, yeah.
Yeah, and they just like stretch out like a big canopy. Mm-hmm. And so it's really nice because like our whole backyard is shaded and most of our front yard is shaded. And so I'm like, if one of them dies, I'm like, well, shit, now I've like don't have shade anymore. Mm-hmm. It'll be like years before that fucking thing can get back up there.
The one thing that maple trees also do is they're very aggressive to anything underneath them. They're one of the trees that poison the ground. They put out actually herbicides underneath them, and so if you like struggle with grass under a maple tree, it's very, very hard to get anything to grow under them. Not just because of the incredible lack of sunlight, but also shade plants struggle because their roots put out herbicide.
That's interesting.
To stop competition. Shit you learn about trees, man, on this podcast, right? That's why you tune in.
We do what we can. I think that the gumball tree is probably related to a lot of divorces in the United States.
Gumball tree? Is that the one that drops like the green apple things?
The little teeny ones? No, yes. The little tiny spiky balls. And they're little gumballs and they turn brown. Mm-hmm. And someone has to rake them, and it doesn't have to be your husband, but you sure the fuck stare at him a long time, and you think he's going to do it, but fuck that shit. You bought the house too, so you're welcome to come and help me bag them up, motherfucker. Every year they would fall, and every year it was like some sort of 7 levels of hell of getting those things up. God damn it. Mm-hmm. And every time I would stare at him going, what kind of sick son of a bitch planted these fucking trees in this front yard? Of all the trees.
Why didn't you just cut them down?
Don't think that conversation didn't happen every year. Again, I'm divorced now. And those trees are an element of it. I know this.
Mm-hmm. It's like if we were to draw a pie of Jeremy's divorce, the trees have this nice.
There's a sliver. There's definitely a sliver.
Yeah. The number of 3-0 drops in Jeremy's life was another sliver over here.
Yep, it's a sliver. There's a sliver.
We're going to encapsulate that by the phrase embracing failure.
Yeah, exactly.
No, my wife and I have kind of a meme between us, if you will, where we will quote roles. Just as a one word, like I do the yard, but she does like any time one of our kids has to get up for anything, it's her. And so she's
So
like,
she's like the person. She's the alarm clock, and you're the landscaper.
yes, basically. And we have like, there's a lot of things we do jointly, but then some things like the litter boxes. Like she wanted the cats, she gets to do litter boxes. I will do them if she's on vacation or something, but otherwise, like I don't give two shits when she gets home at night and how late and tired it is. Like that is hers.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it works really well when you have like specific roles and then joint responsibilities, and then occasionally you chip in. I'm sure every relationship has what works for them.
It works out great until one of them decides to develop, I don't know, what I would call some sort of incredible laziness / chronic ailments that I believe are mysterious and also fake.
Are you revealing live on air, Jeremy, that you believe your wife faked allergies?
I don't have a wife. Let's be clear. I don't have a wife. But boy, she's sure doing good these days.
I'm glad she got over her allergies of the spiky balls.
Yeah.
What are the fucking the crabapple trees? I think is what
the big
people
ones.
call them?
Yeah, those are the ones that get rid
the
of
ones
spiders.
that drop like the little bubbly green balls.
Those
are
an
also
Osage orange.
stupid as fuck.
That's the one I was talking about.
That's
before.
the Osage orange tree. Fuck those trees. Too.
They have male and females, so the males never ever drop them. They're one of the only actually. A lot of plants are dual sex plants, or they have no real genders. But a few trees have that. A few bushes too. A lot of woody plants have. Some woody plants have them, and Osage oranges. Only the females drop those large apples.
Do you know what gender the plant is before it matures?
No, you have to wait for them to drop the apples, basically.
And then you burn it.
You're like, well, I'm gonna have to cut this one down too.
Well,
and
people
you just plant right next to it.
Well, people used to cultivate the female. Here's a little bit of farm lore for you. People used to cultivate the female ones on purpose because if you open up a hedge apple, there's a white it's actually a large amount of this white liquid inside, and it is insect resistant. So insects won't burrow into the hedge apples and eat the seeds, and so. Folks used to know it was basically a pesticide, and so you would extract this white gunk from inside the hedge apples, or just take the whole hedge apple itself and just line around your house with it, and it would provide a protective barrier as long as the hedge apples didn't disintegrate. Just eventually they will. But people used to put hedge apples or the milk inside the hedge apples around the bottom of their house, and it was a semi-permanent barrier to insects because they cannot stand the contents of a hedge apple. So if you go to if you see like an old farmhouse and you see the hedgerows all around them, the windbreaks and stuff, almost all those are commonly females on purpose. They try to cultivate them on purpose so that they can also farm the hedge apples. I grew up in a 125-year-old farmhouse, and almost every single hedge tree around our house was a female. So they could do that back then. We never.
That's
did.
interesting. That's a secondary use then. The only use I've ever seen people use with the crab apples is leaving them in their yard till they stink like a motherfucker and never do anything about it.
Right.
That's a second use then. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a secondary use.
We called that the don't give a fuck mentality.
Yeah.
When you're mowing and you step on one and almost break your ankle. Yeah.
No, these people don't mow their yards.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why it was always in the neighborhood I grew up in. There was always one of those trees in every fucking yard, and it was always in like the back corner on a hill, right? So the balls would drop and roll down. So there would just be this like 1 foot deep pile of them at the bottom of the hills, and they would just rot in the summer, and it would stink like a son of a bitch.
It does not smell good.
No, yeah. And it's weird. It smells like mothballs and piss. Like it's really dumb.
Well, yeah. If you open it up, it smells like a pesticide. Like it's really acrid. Yeah. It's very, very intense smell.
It smells like not spiders and bugs.
Yeah, it smells like the opposite of what they would appreciate. Yeah. I used to, when we were little and super bored over the summer, we would pick them up and set them on the road. We had like a highway that passed by our house. We'd set them on the road and just watch them explode as cars hit them. It was just a dumb, satisfying farm kid thing to do to pass the time.
When you say set them on the road, do you mean huck them off a bridge?
No. We just literally lay them on the road because cars are coming by this at like 55 miles an hour. We didn't stick around on the road. It was like a It was a highway. It was the high speed limit was 55. So we had to. But of course, the cars would only. We were in the middle of nowhere farm, so a car would pass by maybe once every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. So you'd have to wait out there a long time. It was a real, just super boring thing to do. But we were bored. It was the summer. Not much to do in the farm sometimes.
Cool.
Get a chance to watch Quarterback yet? You watch any episodes?
I'm on episode 4, I think.
Yeah.
It is a lot slower than I expected. It is like the Chiefs All Access show. It is fairly dry, so like non-Chiefs fans probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But it is noticeably faster paced than Quarterback is.
Yeah.
The first episode, I was like, wow, I thought this was gonna be good. I'm like bored to tears, and then then they started getting to the good stuff later in the episode. I was like, oh, okay, I kind of see where this is going.
Yeah. I think it's interesting.
I expect the good stuff's coming. But if you like that, that's almost exactly what the Chiefs All Access show is. Except you don't have to listen to Kirk Cousins talk, so it's like dramatically better.
Come on, he'd be an awesome guy to be like your uncle.
Sure.
He seems like a nice guy.
I think he is a nice guy. I have nothing against Kirk Cousins. But I don't want to, spend my limited free time listening to him talk.
Yeah, but he's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Captain Kirk.
Just saying.
No, yeah, if you like Quarterback, you should watch the franchise on YouTube. It's free.
I watched some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, I did forget about how good the Vikings Bills game was last year.
Dude, I just watched that episode today. I was like, oh my God.
It's just absurd, right? Like Justin Jefferson just won that game for them straight up.
Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy. How far did you get, Aaron, in The Bear? Have you watched any more of that?
We're about season 2, episode 3 or so.
Oh shit, man! Far. You're just going right through it.
Well, we watched season 1 when it came out, so it's just season 2.
Oh, I
gotcha. We should be done, but my wife's been busy.
Gotcha.
Did you start watching Battlestar yet? I'm asking for a friend.
No. I do only have 16 more episodes of Discovery, and I have 3 models to paint. I chose to watch Megamind today while painting them, so I knocked that out. I'm willing to bet, don't quote me on it, but I'm willing to bet that I'll start Battlestar next week. Like in about a week from now. It'll take me, depends how long it takes me to paint them. If it takes me 6 hours to paint them, I work out once a day, so that's 13 episodes. So maybe 10 days from now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, M'Baku needs a good paint job after what I saw he did, which was so unfriendly on one of the nicest guys ever. Like, that was not cool.
Turns out he has a high ceiling and a low floor.
Oh, man. Yikes. You might want to kill that guy. Okay, I'll try. Damn it, it didn't work. All right, now all your shit is dazed. You're like, whoa!
Yeah, for the listeners, M'Baku double spendered and killed a fully healthy rhino, fully healthy Ulick, and mostly damaged Kingpin with the double spender. It was pretty sick.
My expectation would be that'll happen every time. No problem.
Sure.
No problem.
That's a lot of hit points.
It is, but it's 4 attacks and 2 size 4 throws.
It's fine.
I think I'm 8 games into M'Baku right now, and it is definitely not the average. Like my last game, he did jack all.
He's got a walking stick.
So it helps when people attack him, and it helps when I give him power with Spirit of Wakanda. If neither of those happen, and he just fails his triggers, he's like so sad. He's just one of those models. Go ahead.
Why is he able to throw size 4s?
Because if a model can't throw size 4 that was released after 1 January 2023, it doesn't get played.
That's not true.
True.
No, but I mean, like, even there's no like logical fluff reason why he should be able to throw a size 4 model.
I don't know
he's
if you
just
know much
a guy.
I don't know if you know much about the white gorilla. But,
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, this anytime anybody like applies physics to this game anymore, I'd say, whoa, no.
Come on.
Like there are characters in this game that roll dice like compared to other like things in the universe or actual things we have, like bullets and rocket launchers.
Do you know how fast an actual rhinoceros is? Have you ever clocked one?
No, I haven't.
Faster than
Should
light.
I Google it?
Yeah.
Faster than light.
Faster than light. A
How is that
rhinoceros
relevant
actually.
to talk about man-ape here?
I'm just saying, it's physics.
Mm-hmm.
Man-ape.
All right. That's his name in the comics.
Is it?
Yeah, it actually is. It's really dumb.
Mm-hmm. In the comic books, he's literally, it's like a gorilla. It's like you put on the gorilla skin, and the mouth of the gorilla is his face. Like that's the whole. It's super derpy looking.
No, the movie was much better.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't seem like that would have translated well.
Yeah,
not in the movie. No.
Everybody's like, "Oh my."
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess let's get into it. Are you guys ready?
Born ready.
Born ready. Did you like that one, Parker?
I love that one. I love it so much.
Science.
No one's gonna know what the fuck's going on because it's gonna come before the tree talk.
Yeah, but then they'll find out.
Then they'll get it.
Yeah.
They'll get it then.
They'll be perfect.
I like because it's gonna immediately roll into it though.
Right.
What the fuck?
Arborists.
It'll make them be like, what? What could that mean? We need to know.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about movies.
Oh yeah, I am super pumped.
So, are you wanting to just recap last week, or are you wanting to do the new one?
Both.
Oh, I was going to say let's do the new one next week. Oh no, we can't do it next week.
No, we need to do the new one now.
You guys want to do this every week? You realize how quickly we'll run out of topics?
Well, eventually we'll get like some update and have actual news to talk about. Until then, I think you can go like 20 weeks with different topic or different.
I mean, we can
categories.
go for a while, and we could open up to like books and stuff. But I mean, we're definitely doing Dresden Files 1 week. So, there's a lot of sports movies I still need to watch. I haven't watched that many. We can do it if you want, but like I have not seen as many as everybody else. There's like 5 that I wanted to see before making this list.
Oh, I made a list. I'm ready to go.
Okay, we can do it, I guess.
I'm so hard right now.
Mm.
Okay, first let's recap last week though, because the results were interesting.
Yep. I think I figured out what happened.
Okay.
Obviously, because the number 4 reaction was first, people thought that was the number 1 reaction. That's theory 1.
That's theory 1.
Theory 2, what actually happened, that was a joke. What actually I believe happened was because Aaron had no like controversial picks, he won by default. Because I threw out Blade, Jeremy threw out The Crow, and Parker did V for Vendetta, and all 3 of those are like, you're either going to completely agree or completely disagree. It drove everyone to like the safety net picks of Aaron.
Wow, I've never felt so insulted in my life.
Oh, really?
Oh, I've
done way better than that.
Yeah, just wait. I'm actually going harder with that.
So actually, the funny thing, I honestly completely blanked on The Incredibles. Like, that's actually a sleeper great pick. And I still stand by Megamind on top of it, but I probably would have gone with Megamind Incredibles instead of Megamind Blade. But yeah, Guardians is obviously a great pick. And everyone who listens to the show, I'm sure, likes Guardians. So that helped.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I would say that I think...
Says the biggest Guardian fan in the room.
Yeah, but I would say that one of the things about this particular thing, and I think I posted this as soon as Aaron was declared the winner, is as soon as it happened, my first reaction was, don't metagame this, don't metagame this, don't metagame this, because I immediately started looking at it and I went like, which one of these lists has the most generic appeal? Well, clearly Aaron's has the most generic appeal. More people are going to like Aaron's based upon the kind of choices that he make and the fact that people are people. And so as long as I put things like Hellboy and V for Vendetta on the list, I am marginalizing myself from a win. And so I've never been the person to ever go for a generic appeal ever. anytime I've ever been given anything, I always go for a very strange appeal, and so I get like a small set of people who really appreciate it, and most people don't. And so
Parker,
I've told myself immediately, I was like, do not do that, because like, for example, this movie, I made 2 lists for this sports movie one. One is what are my favorites, and the other is what will automatically win if I say these 3 movies, because these 3 movies will automatically win because I'll get the number of people that I want to win. And I'm interested to see if anybody chooses any of the automatic wins, and to see if that makes them win. That's my curious. That's my.
I thought you selected decent movies, Aaron, and I don't think you're an idiot. I think you're a pretty decent guy. I think Parker,
Jeremy, we agreed beforehand you were not going to do this.
Actually, I don't know if we want to tell Parker he's off the podcast yet,
or so just Parker, tell him tomorrow. That's why I want to tell you. I've been down in the streets getting the in-person reviews of the lists.
Oh, really?
Would you like to get the feedback for yours?
I would.
What fucking idiot chose V for Vendetta? That's not even a superhero movie. That was unanimously the feedback on your list. And so everyone said that Hellboy and Winter Soldier were good picks, but they just couldn't vote for it because of V for Vendetta.
Which is, I think, a terrible opinion, because I don't know where you put V. I don't know where
he's
you put
really
V.
alienated himself now. Like he's never. I
think anyone who thinks V for Vendetta is not a superhero movie is got to tell me where it should have belonged, because if we're going to have a dystopic future category, I guess that's where it belongs, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time, so I decided to put it in there.
Would you put Equilibrium and V for Vendetta in the same category? He's thinking. I withdraw the question. Let's move on.
No. Oh, I'd say that one of the things about like a lot of things about sci-fi movies is that science fiction movies usually have this intense moral tale also about, it's supposed to be reflective of some part of our society or some thing in our society, like a potential downfall of our society, right? In the case of Equilibrium, it's relinquishing control of emotions. In the case of V for Vendetta, it's releasing control of personal liberty, right? Both for the sake of security. So in that way, they are both dystopic sci-fi films. However, a lot of people, I think, would argue that V for Vendetta is not a science fiction film because there aren't a lot of science fiction components to it.
I'm just saying, like, the political intrigue concept, like the social, economic concepts of the movie.
Right, and how
but
they're both cautionary
Equilibrium
tales.
Is more sci-fi, and then the other one is not as sci-fi.
Right, and I think it's because it's not dripping. The world looks very much like our own, right? And in science fiction, it typically looks aged or somehow very alternate.
Even though Equilibrium has the science fiction aspect of, like, you don't really see, like, this wild technology stuff. It's just the society is sci-fi-esque.
Right. And so that's exactly the point I was trying to make, which is, like, if V for Vendetta is not a sci-fi and it's not a hero movie and it's not a comedy and it's not a drama, like, what could it possibly be? It's just a movie and then it never gets to become a category. I think that's unfair. I think it has a lot of components of what makes most superhero movies, and it also comes from a comic book if that's the only category, if that's the only thing you need, which some people, I guess, would say no, you have to also be, I don't know, blessed with superpowers, which he is,
Swole.
Or
you have to be swole,
which he is. Like, I don't know.
I really didn't mean to cause this giant existential conversation. I was just asking if you considered them in the same category.
I didn't.
I have one more question. I have a question.
I would say yes. I would say yes and no.
One more thing, real quick. Aaron, did you enjoy Megamind?
Honestly, not that much.
That's not my favorite movie either. Okay, let's move on.
And
you guys don't even know what you're missing.
I actually feel Luke.
I've seen it like 20 times. My kids watch it all the time.
I actually feel lukewarm about The Incredibles. I think it's just fine. There's nothing great about it.
I like both of them, but I like Megamind more because it's not targeted at, like, the whole point. While it's satire, it's not just trying to copy the concept as where. But, like, Incredibles does feel like a more realistic world to live in. Like, it's much more filled out, if you will. Like, it feels lived in. And, like, there's much more, like, political drama involved and, like, a little bit more realism. But, like, Megamind is more entertaining. And when I'm watching an animated movie, that's really what I'm going for most of the time. So, But like the comedy, the quickness of the movie, like Incredibles has some funny moments, but the funny moments are generally more situational comedy than like, the dialogue comedy that Megamind has. I prefer dialogue comedy more often than not.
Olo. It's hello. Oh, hello. Like, that's a wonderful
My old
bit.
shul house.
Like, his inability to pronounce words is a wonderful bit.
Right. But Jonah Hill and Will Ferrell and Brad Pitt, like, there's so many great cast members in that movie. And I like the Incredibles cast as well. But like I said,
Megamind felt more like a Will Ferrell comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it has that kind of tone to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part of it that, to me, doesn't feel as sharp as Incredibles does. Incredibles feels sharp all around. Like, that movie is fucking razor sharp. Like, it's amazing, great writing, all of that. Where Megamind has kind of some dumb shit that happens. Like, it's just kind of some dumb comedy in places that's just kind of like, it's probably appropriate and just silly, but...
Well, one is like an homage to, and one is satire. So, like, one is making fun of how silly it is, and the other one is like trying to be realistic.
Sure.
So
they're two different movies. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're different, but they're both good.
So Parker,
okay,
whatever list you have that is just to win, you need to fucking burn, because
Aaron really doesn't want to lose.
No. I think this whole thought process, if you will, a little portion of the episodes are to...
the whole point is opinions. Like, if you
and to potentially give people who are listening, like, oh, I've never thought about that, or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Or, hey, they like these two. I haven't watched the third. I'll probably like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was thrilled to absolutely kick all your asses week one. Probably because I didn't think I would. But the goal is not to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did start it with the first thing I told myself was don't try to metagame it. Don't try to metagame it, because I'm going to have that impulse to do so.
Also, we'll know when you're full of shit because I won't believe it.
Okay.
So
there's going to be some clicking noises. Don't freak out, Nigel. I've got to do the final tally. Okay. Oh, I better do this in actual order, or else I'll fucking mess it up. Okay. I need to go to the Facebook page and count the Facebook votes. Tim wants to know why Unbreakable didn't even make the list.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things that there are so many movies. We had to pick three.
There's a lot. Now, and I like Unbreakable for what it is, but I honestly am not big on Unbreakable.
I actually like Glass more.
Glass is, I would say, is really better, because I like the pacing and the tone of Unbreakable and like the realism, but it's also just like, it's just really boring, honestly.
It's slow. It's pretty slow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in most of the M. Night Shyamalan movies, he's just telling a story that we've already known. It's his retelling of a story. Like, he likes telling stories that are stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you like those kind of things, then you like those things. It's fine. And actually, I do dig his stories, but...
So, by the Facebook votes, Jeremy wins.
Yeah, so get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And when you add those to the Discord?
No, I'm just saying of the different formats.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy wins. I can reset the reactions if you want.
Uh-huh.
I'll put them in there in the correct order. We'll see how it does by next week. But yeah, Jeremy got 3 votes on Facebook, and Parker got 2, and Aaron only got 1.
Yes.
How many did you get?
Huh?
I got 0.
Oh, okay.
There's a monster bug.
Monster bug? What? All right. On the podcast voting, we got 1 for me, 0 for Jeremy, 1 for Parker, and 3 for Aaron. And then Discord, for the people on Discord, it was heavily lopsided towards Aaron. Again, because for some reason people hate Blade. I don't get it. Okay, so officially, Aaron, your pick for the next format is sports movies?
Yep.
Alrighty.
So, funny, serious, drama, just had to center or have sports be one of the primary focuses of the movie.
I wish I could refresh on some of these movies. Man, I haven't seen these movies since I was like a kid. Okay, so let's see. Jeremy, you're up first.
Okay. Well, so these all basically are going to have some sort of weird emotional connection. They may not be the best, but these are all the ones that when they're on TV, I will watch them start to finish regardless because they're fucking awesome. So I'm going to start with Rocky IV because it's the fucking bomb. Yeah. Enough said. Fucking Rocky IV.
It's acceptable. I think Rocky would rate pretty high in general. But yeah, I think Rocky IV is the best one, but that's just because the first one. I've seen the first one. It's hard to get through as a kid, so I haven't tried to rewatch it as an adult. But
it's kind of fun to watch the first one, knowing what happens to Rocky, like as a concept, because it was an original, interesting concept, in my opinion. I know some people say it's all movies or stories are just retelling other stories, but I think it was a really interesting take on the genre, and it was fun to watch. However, I think if you would have, like you said, just been like, hey, let's watch this series called Rocky, and just like not knowing anything about it and just started with Rocky 1, I would have went, wow, this was pretty slow, and like the payoff takes a while.
Honestly, the thing, like, it was slow, but it was the cringe moments for me were just like, oh my god, this is so awkward. Like, I don't know why I'm in this scene. Like, you're like, I'm pretty sure he's going to rape and kill that girl. Yeah, like I was like, this is like a horror movie, right? And they're like, no, it's like a feel good movie. I'm like, this doesn't feel good. Like, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Parker.
Mine also are very emotional, really tied to some feelings. My first one is Dodgeball, a true underdog story.
That's the money. Yep.
I forgot about Dodgeball.
And the feeling is just intense joy. I love one of the most quotable like movies of all time. It's up there with like Dumb and Dumber for me. It's so incredibly, like, every line, just one after another. Also, an ensemble cast, I forget. Like, I don't remember how many people are in it until I watch it again. I'm like, holy crap.
It's so many. The Stapler guy's in it, Vince Vaughn,
Jason Bateman is in it. Like, everybody's in it.
Yeah, it's also, what's his name? Alan Tudyk's in it. He plays Steve the Pirate.
Rip Torn, of course, plays that amazing.
Rip Torn, yeah. Oh my god.
Stephen Root, sorry. So many good people. It's amazing.
There's the guy from the Apple commercials. I can't remember his name. I will say it's Luke something. Anyway, we need to decide, are we going to allow duplication on these?
Yeah, we do.
Wait, what?
We do allow? Okay.
No, we do need to decide.
Oh, yeah. I thought we said no duplication, no matter what.
No, we said originally if everyone picks the same thing, we'll veto and start and just open a new slot.
That's right.
But I think with how this has been going, I think it'd be better to allow no duplication, so it's more like a draft.
Oof. Well, I need to go first next time.
Why did we already take Dodgeball?
So I had Rocky 1 and Dodgeball as 1 and 2 on my list. So,
Well, don't worry. Rocky 1 will still be there next pick.
Okay.
All right, but yeah, what do we want to do? So what's the vote? Does anyone not want duplication?
I feel
like if we're doing the voting, I think we're doing voting, it needs to be not duplication.
I think not duplication.
Okay, so in the future, we'll be doing these in reverse draft, snake draft order, if they're going no duplication.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good with that? Nobody disagrees? Nobody wants to change anything?
That's fine.
Okay. Aaron, you're up.
Well, spoiler, it'll be Rocky 1.
Rocky 1.
Now, I have to say, I was a little disappointed, because this was the second movie I saw Stallone in after The Italian Stallion. So, not the movie I was expecting. But a very, very good Movie, obviously nominated for Academy Awards.
Please tell me you're referring to a shitty porno when you say The Italian Stallion.
Yeah, that was his first movie. Yeah, so everything you guys said, it's a little awkward, especially younger. Best because it's actually a good film. And
I know it's a good cinematic film. It's highly respected. I don't have anything against Rocky. It's not for me.
Sure.
And I know that.
Yep. So anyway, and it just kickstarted the franchise, and I appreciate the originals of the series, other than Star Trek.
Same thing. Like, I can't watch Goodfellas. I can't watch Blade Runner because I saw them like within the last 2 years. Like, it's just like they do. In my opinion, they really do not hold up. And so it's so hard for me to watch them in a vacuum. Okay.
Anyway, enough about Rocky.
All right. Well, 2 of the movies I was thinking on naming are gone. All right. Which one am I sure you guys are going to pick? So I get 2 picks. We're going to go with Any Given Sunday, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I thought was good.
That was a good one. That was a really strong one.
I'm just not like a diehard fan of it. Like, I liked the movie. It had a lot of great speeches with like Al Pacino and everything. And so it's definitely good. And it's mainly like the locker room speech he gives in the last game is like 10 out of 10.
That is a really, I think this was one of those movies that was, one of the things about sports movies that happened in sports movies that I don't know if I appreciated is they kind of got co-opted as let's appeal to guys as hard as we can movies. And I feel like Any Given Sunday was like near the start of that, where they're just going to we're going to make sure this is as macho and full of as much appeal to machismo as we possibly can. And
is that what you got out of that movie?
I think it's very much about like, I think the power male fantasy definitely like reverberates a lot. The speech is a really good example of that.
Sure. But the starting quarterback for the team is like having severe like personal issues about his own confidence and stuff throughout the whole movie.
Which is go ahead.
So you're supposed to look down on that character? That's what you felt?
No, it's very much an appeal again to the male persona, right? This idea that men have to be confident, they have to be fantastic, they always have to be showing up, they always have to be performing, and there's a lot of pressure, responsibility that goes along with that. It's a theme that appeals to men. I think it probably appeals to women also, but I think the fact that it's a sports movie was not lost on the producers of it, and the fact that it was going to appeal to a male audience. I think there is a difference between the sports movies that were made in the 80s and a sports movie that were made in the late 90s and 2000s, and I think part of that was appeal. They were trying to appeal to male egos, specifically, hoping that males would appreciate it more so that they would go and see them.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a single movie that isn't true of that has any kind of male lean, but I guess I see your point. I think that's just pretty true of all media and not just movies about sports.
Yeah, maybe I'm making this up. Maybe I'm making it up. Because...
I don't think you're wrong. I just think that's literally true of every movie that we could basically name.
Oh, that just in general, there's a masculine.
like it's true, but like that's just like saying like every movie is sexist in at least some level. Like because every female has to have a love interest. Every man has to be tough. Like yes, it's true. I'm not saying that your point is invalid. I'm just saying I don't know how relevant it is because all of these movies are generally very macho in that. So you're right, but like I think that's pretty obvious. I think that's just unfortunately the media we get given is just that way.
Okay, maybe I just have a memory of it, or like whenever this movie shows up in popular clips of me today, it's always that scene, right? It's always the
sure, but what I actually got from the movie is like showing how not healthy that is. Like there's a lot of scenes where they point out, it's like, dude, this guy's literally going to kill himself because he refuses to not admit that he needs help.
Right.
Like he's going, like the one guy who keeps getting concussions, like the guy played by Lawrence Taylor, is like, dude, you're gonna die on the field, and like the trainer's okay with that because he wants to get money. Like it's really dark for that reasoning. And so that's part of the reason I like the movie, is because it points out the problems with the industry. Anyway, so my second pick, I'm going with The Replacements.
That's a good one.
Fuck you guys. God almighty.
But so I like The Replacements. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but it's got my boy Keanu, and but it's very entertaining. And I mean, at the time, I didn't know much about football. This was before I became a football fan, because I watched it when I was a kid. But it was entertaining at the time. All right, Aaron, you're up.
Well, I have to give props to both your and Parker's picks because Dodgeball and Replacements are excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to dive into the barrel a little bit. We're going to go with A League of Their Own.
Okay, I like that one.
It is charming, witty, a little sentimental, a little formulaic, but I don't know anyone who sits down and watches that movie and doesn't, at the end of it, say they had a good time.
Oh, no, yeah, very solid pick.
So it's not winning awards, but it's my choice.
Like it was on my short list. I really, really like that movie. You said it's a little formulaic. One of the things I actually say a departure from it. Spoiler alert: 2 of the main characters that you mean to care about very much actually end up becoming adversaries at the end, and the one you follow the most actually loses, which I always thought was kind of interesting. As a young person, I noticed at the end of the movie that it wasn't the conclusion I thought it was, because the character that seems to need to win because you follow them so much is actually the one that loses, which is not what a sports movie typically has in it.
Cool. Parker, you're up.
Speaking of movies in which the main character loses but wins anyway, one of my favorite ones ever is Tin Cup.
That was on my list.
Kevin Costner. I love the movie Tin Cup. Tin Cup also harkens back to a time in which, in my own life personally, I used to watch a lot of films with my father. And he loved the movie Tin Cup because of one of his favorite things is kind of disreputable characters. He likes characters that are from the middle of nowhere and come from nothing and show up to big games or show up to big events or show up when somebody needs them. And they kind of go about things in a backwoods, hick, I guess is the way to put it, kind of method. And it still is effective, right? Because you could be effective and still come from these backgrounds, and that appeals to him a lot. So I know that's one of the reasons why the theme of the movie that appeals to him a bunch. But we also were just huge Kevin Costner fans. I still am. I can't not love Kevin Costner, the man.
So I picked Replacements because I didn't think Replacements was going to get back to me, and I thought Tin Cup might. So thanks for ruining everything. Jeremy, you're up. You get 2 picks. Finish out your list.
2, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Man, I've got so many good ones here.
A plethora.
I do. So I'm gonna. This one is all about the feels when I first saw it, and then I saw it with my kids, and I got feels again. Sandlot.
Mm-hmm.
The Sandlot fucking.
Man.
The first time I saw that, it was like, dude, this is life, right? Like this is the way. It's like what you wished it was when you grew up. But really what it was kids tackling each other and beating the shit out of you because you weren't the cool kid. But, like, you wanted that so bad. You wanted to be a part of a baseball team or a team or whatever. And, it was just great. And it had the neighbor with the scary dog, all that shit. And then watching it with my kids, and they loved the movie too. It just, oh my God. Like, it's the quintessential, like, coming-of-age baseball family. Like, it's great. So there's that one. I'm not going to do another baseball one. I've got several here. We're going to go
several
to like
baseball ones?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There's so many good ones, man. I got a monstrous list. I'm going to go with an offbeat one that's probably going to get my list rejected.
Nice.
But I love it. I love the movie The Wrestler. Y'all know I like The Wrestler. Dude, The Wrestler's fucking amazing.
Isn't it the super dark one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
I haven't seen it. I've been meaning to.
Oh, fuck, man. Like, that's a behind-the-scenes, gritty, realistic, like, shit goes south, and you just watch this guy climb from, he's the top to the bottom, trying to be the top again, back to the bottom, just gritty. Oh, man. And as someone who really enjoyed watching wrestling in the 90s, like, it just is kind of a dirty behind-the-scenes look at it. So good. And that director's known for just being the drama kind of master of that stuff. So Those are mine.
All right, Parker, final pick.
Maybe one of my favorite movies of all time, I say the best for last, I'm glad it didn't get picked, is Caddyshack. I love
Ooh,
the
nice.
movie Caddyshack. I know I had two golf movies, but I don't care. I love the movie Caddyshack so much. Rodney Dangerfield, just everything he says is amazing, and then Chevy Chase is just one of the most amazing characters he ever plays. Is his character from Caddyshack? And it makes me mad that I can't remember his name right now. But
Wait, which character?
Chevy Chase's character. Now I gotta remember.
Fuck me, yeah, I can't remember.
And of course, Bill Murray's iconic role as the groundskeeper. Like, there are so many things in that movie. Ty Webb, that's Chevy Chase's character names. But there are so many parts of that movie that just every single time I watch it, still today, it ages so well. And some of the movies from that era, some of the jokes, you kind of cringe so much because they're so tone deaf. But somehow this movie is timeless in its humor and its comedy. It requires no tone. It's just super fucking funny. And the drama around the golf course is perfect. Perfect tone, perfect execution. All these actors in their heyday just knocking it out of the park.
All right, Aaron, last pick.
Okay, I sent you guys a picture in the podcast channel. Can any of you tell me who that person is on the left?
The guy in focus, the guy out of focus?
In focus.
No, I've never seen whatever that is, so...
You have never seen this film, but I guarantee you have seen that person.
Probably, I guess.
I cannot.
Can you tell me what else they've been in? Just one other thing?
Yes, the MCU. And if you want more specific, I can do more specific.
Is that the guy who played Thor?
No.
I kind of see it. All right, more specific.
Daredevil Season 2.
Is that Vincent?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
So my pick, number 3, is a movie called The Blood of Heroes.
You've been talking about this one for a while. Oh, shit.
So, for anyone listening or podcast members, you can stream this for free on Vudu, which your smart TV probably has already on its channel, or you can just download the app. This is starring a very young Vincent D'Onofrio and a relatively middle-aged Rutger Hauer in what can only be described as post-apocalyptic Blood Bowl. And if you're not already fucking hard, then you need to delete this podcast because you're not my type of fan.
Is this a sports movie? I don't know if gladiatorial combat is sports.
I said Blood Bowl.
Yeah, that's not a sport.
It was the first sport.
You're dead to me. You're fucking dead.
I was in with Vincent. Like, I love that guy.
I love Vincent too, but okay, let's see. I have to look this up now. This is gonna be such a waste.
You made him watch Mastermind.
It's Megamind for sure.
I watched them both.
Like Mastermind and Megamind.
Is Spartacus a fucking sports movie?
Yes.
Watch the fucking movie and then tell me it's not a sports movie.
All right, hold on. I'm watching the trailer.
Oh my god. So, for the listeners while you're watching, my wife, girlfriend at the time, we're like 15 or something, I rented this movie and wanted to watch it again or show it to her back in the 1980s. It came out in 89, so maybe early 90s. Anyway, she went to Blockbuster at the time and said, there's this weird thing about, violent, and she described the sport. I won't go into it for the listeners right now. Keep it as a surprise. And the guy was like, oh, that sounds like a David Webb film. Sure enough, he's a producer. And so this random employee at Blockbuster was able to find this completely obscure movie I'd seen once and wanted to show her. So it's always been kind of she went out of her way as a relatively introverted, teenager to talk to strangers, which can be hard, to find the movie that a friend, not even an intimate boyfriend, wanted to watch with her. So this movie will always hold a special place in my heart for that reason, and the fact that it's fucking Blood Bowl. Basically.
You did it. You finally, you did it.
Okay. Is this the moment where we can talk?
Have you watched it yet? And by it, I mean
watched
the entire movie?
The trailer.
Then
this is 1,000,000% not a fucking sports movie. This is literally just Mad Max.
No.
This is Thunderdome Mad Max shit. They're literally swinging weapons at each other.
All right, Mad Max is my pick now.
This isn't a sports movie. Is this the whole reason you pick sports movies?
Yes.
No.
Okay, then
I can neither confirm nor deny.
okay.
Bassmasters. Bassmasters is now my pick.
Bassmasters. Whatever that weirdo guy that drinks
Hold on.
Diet Coke is my new favorite sports actor, then I don't know.
What
Okay.
little entertainment comes from a brutal sport known as the game? Blah, 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 blah,
I'm
blah.
officially voting to veto this from the selection.
Yeah, no. I
as
veto
the
your
guy-
And Jeremy, I need you to vote yes or no on a veto.
No.
You're voting no on veto?
No veto.
Why are you voting no?
I do not I abstain.
All right, so now I just need Parker. Parker,
Wait.
please say this
Wait.
is not a sport movie.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on. Wait. No one's going to vote for him if he picks this movie. Never mind, I'm good with it.
That's what I'm saying. You don't
This
know
is
what
actually
you're doing.
this is what I was about to say, which is I cannot, in good conscience, allow him not to choose this after I picked V for Vendetta, and no one
Okay.
agrees it's a superhero movie.
No,
This-
to be fair, we voted 2-1 on that to
Yeah.
not kick that out.
True. I am actually voting not to veto this one, that he can do this one, because it is about an up and coming group of people trying to join a league of sport.
That's not what the trailer said. The trailer it literally
I'm-
shows Mad Max
I'm
footage the
ignoring
entire time.
The summary starts with, in a future where most of mankind and technology is wiped out, 6 people travel from place to
Okay,
place,
Aaron,
and then
if you only cared about Blood Bowl, why don't you just pick Rollerball, which is literally Blood Bowl?
Watch the fucking
Oh
movie.
my god, it looked so bad.
All right, are we ready for the rest? Like we get to do honorable mentions.
I'm so upset. I've never been less upset. Had to fucking take Dodgeball, you fucking asshole.
So everyone here forgot about
No,
money.
no. I have my last pick.
Oh, do it.
I'm thinking.
We were arguing about a goddamn Mad Max Thunderdome.
I'm trying not to pick a third football movie, but that leaves a short list. How do you spell this? I have to look it up.
RUD.
why?
Okay, fine. I picked Talladega Nights.
That was on my list.
Really thought about picking Happy Gilmore, but since Parker picked 5 golf movies, I guess I better pick Talladega Nights. Okay, now you can do your honorable mentions.
Where he raises horses who are also gay.
I believe it's dogs, but yes,
No, it's horses.
I'm pretty sure it's dogs. Are you talking about the guy's husband?
Yes.
No, yeah, they do. He trains German shepherds who are also gay.
Oh God. Y'all forgot. Here's something that you forgot. Moneyball.
I like Moneyball, but I didn't think I would get votes for Moneyball. And also, I definitely no. I really like Talladega Nights.
Okay,
I like Moneyball, but Talladega Nights is like one of my favorite movies.
Unnecessary Roughness.
Never seen it.
Ooh,
Oh,
yes.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
That's a sleeper pick.
I'll replace Bloody Heroes with that for you.
No, you will not.
Hoosiers.
Never seen it.
Hoosiers was on,
This
was
is why
on
I was
my
like,
list.
dude, there's like a list of 10 movies I was going to watch this week. I didn't know we were doing the votes this week. I would have tried to watch 1 or 2 of them. I really want to see the American Underdog movie about Kurt Warner.
Here's one. Major fucking League.
Major League.
Not
Dude.
top 3 though. Not top 3.
No.
Not top 3, but could be
Which
included.
This
if
is
someone
honorable
took yours.
mentions. Yeah.
Well, Jeremy's like, you guys fucking forgot them. Like, no, we didn't. They just didn't make the cut.
Major League's pretty goddamn good, though.
Never
Like,
seen it.
the thing is if it depends. Are you a drama person? What kind of person? Like, you don't know.
Remember the Titans? I know is usually up there too. I've seen it once when I was a kid.
Oh, I forgot that one. That should have been on my list. That makes me upset that I forgot it.
Tell you what, I'll trade you for Tin Cup.
Nope. I love Tin
Yeah, that's
Cup
what I
too
thought.
much.
Mm.
How about
good?
How about the Waterboy?
Waterboy was just behind Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole like selection of comedy sports movies, that's its own animal. Like I had a whole laundry list, and I'm just like, I can't.
So after we get through all the broad categories, then we'll start narrowing it down, and we'll do like comedy sport movie or comedy action movie or whatever, or like satire movies. So personally, I know what I'm picking if I win this week. Like, I know exactly what category I'm picking, and I'm very excited because I've got my top 3 fucking dialed in.
Dramas that start with the letter Q.
Yeah, Care Bears on Ice.
So for drama sports, Invincible.
Invincible was good, but again, it's like below Remember the Titans and all that.
Yeah. $1 Million Baby. I always watch that every time it's on.
Fantastic. I actually a sleeper one that I found once that I've watched it again now. It's great. Is Whip It? You guys ever see Whip It? It's actually a movie about roller derby with an ensemble like all female cast. Drew Barrymore, Kristen Wiig, Juliette Lewis.
I remember
Shawkat.
that. I never saw it, but I remember it.
Yeah, Elliot Page is the main character. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. Whip It. Whip It was Whip It
Mighty
is
Ducks.
I thought about D2.
Also Angels in the Outfield. That's a filler.
I hate that fucking movie.
I worked at the movie theater.
I was like the first movie I ever saw that was a sports movie,
Yeah.
and I thought it was great when I was a kid, and I rewatched it years later. I'm like, oh my god, this movie is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys ever see?
It's so bad.
Did you guys ever see the College Humor made a short, and it takes place in the locker room, and it's called like in the locker room of the team that loses to like the feel good kids movies, and so it's one time he goes,
that guy was flying.
The other guy was the flying. They had angels. There were apparitions everywhere. I think one of them gave Billy a wedgie, and he's like, "I hurt so much. That angel hurt me so much." Another one, of course, fast forwards, and now they're playing basketball. He's just like, "That dog bit me. He bit me really hard, and he's like dunking on us and like jumping on our bodies. We can't guard a dog." And he's like, "I know, but apparently there's no rules." And they're like, "The dogs can't play basketball." Like it's just a bunch of of the other team that loses to the gimmicky kids crap.
Sixth Man, where he has his dead brother's ghost is playing basketball with them, and he doesn't count as a player because he's a ghost. So it's 6-on-5. It's also very hard to guard a ghost.
Yeah. I was waiting for one of you guys to say Air Bud as a joke, and I was...
Yeah. No, everyone knows it's Air Bud 3.
Air Bud 3, the rebuttoning.
Mm-hmm. Slam Dunk.
It's got to be one with Shaq, right? You got a Shaq Fu or something?
Man.
I actually was curious what you guys thought about, like, is the Karate Kid count? Like, is it a sports movie?
No.
No? That's what I didn't think so.
Blood Bowl is a sports movie, then Karate Kid sure the fuck is.
Yeah, it's a martial arts movie.
Oh wait, well if I would say
Bloodsport.
If Bloodsport is, then I think The Running Man has to be, right?
Oh my god, yes.
Film? The Running Man has to be.
Right.
This is why Blood of Heroes doesn't belong on this list.
Now that
it would have been, you could have actually used it to compete with those other movies that are very similar to it.
Yeah,
The Running Man. Forget all my other picks.
Dude.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing Running Man.
So
I'll trade all 3 of the picks I made for Running Man.
So, I actually thought about Running Man and decided it was a game show, not a sport.
Sci-fi. Yeah, sci-fi action.
So it wasn't a sport because there was no competition as a team or like a. I get it. There was
you compete against the other people to survive.
Sure, I wouldn't call Hunger Games a sport. Yeah, exactly. It's not a sport.
Yeah.
Wait,
no, it's an action movie.
Saw. I'm also now choosing Saw.
I feel like one of these days we're just going to finally veto something.
I think we figured this out. Excellent.
I will accept all of your apologies next week when you realize how awesome The Blood of Heroes is.
Okay. I'm not watching that shit.
Hold on. I think Cars also has to be in this conversation.
I will kill you. I will fucking murder you.
It's technically a sports movie. Like,
it's not.
Isn't it?
No.
Okay. Would you
Cars
call
when people compete, not cars?
Would you call Rush? Would you call Rush a sports movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I've
Harry
never
Potter,
seen it,
Goblet
so
of
it's
Fire.
very low bar. Yeah.
Okay.
I do Quidditch.
Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire, motherfucker, catch it.
Ooh, hold on. Rounders.
All right, I'm in with that too.
Is that?
Scrap the rest of everything.
That's the Matt Damon poker movie.
That's
I know.
on
I
ESPN.
love
I'm
Rounders,
in.
but is that a sports movie?
Pretty sure poker's legally considered a sport.
Oh my god! What a weird.
Do not splash the pot.
Do not. I will splash the pot whenever I fucking want
You
to.
are shit piece.
His
Pay
terrible accent.
the man his money.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, Ford
yes,
versus
yes.
Ferrari. If we can count
Ford vs.
racing
Ferrari
movies,
is good.
I love a few racing movies. Ford versus
Listen, there has to
Ferrari
be
is
a
really
ball.
good.
There has to be a ball. Okay, from now on, that's a rule.
He said anything related to sports because I know
No,
he
no.
was trying to get
I
his
said-
goddamn Blood of Heroes in there.
I said focused on sports.
Okay.
Not that they were like there was football in the background on the TV in some drama that they were having.
Ooh, Uncut Gems, is that considered a sports movie?
I've never seen it.
Maybe.
Adam Sandler plays the worst human alive in Whistling Sports Better. I think that's an app description. Worst human alive.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
He brings his kid over to his apartment while him and his wife are separated, and he meets his like live-in hooker or something. It's like really awkward.
Oh my
Wait.
god.
Anyway,
hold on.
He runs like a pawn shop or a jewelry store, and he is like borrows money from the mob to bet on basketball games, and he ends up. It's a dark movie, but it's really good.
I've got it. Best one. A group of surfers get together for a competition that goes too far. Point Break.
Yeah.
Point Break must be a sports movie.
A group of surfers. That's a surfing movie.
It's a surfing movie.
I'm in. I buy
This
it.
is more of a sports movie than Blood of Heroes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I will not.
No, I actually want to change my third pick. If we're allowing Blood of Heroes, I choose Gladiator.
Down on his luck, man finds a way to make.
I'm actually going to IMDb Gladiator now.
Oh my god. I feel like this is one of those someone picked at the tape and like let me see what we can get if we just allow this little Blood of Heroes thing. And then suddenly Jeremy has Saw. He has Gladiator.
I'll take
Shock a lot.
I'll take Point Break.
Again, I await your apologies.
Oh my god.
Hey, Jeremy, do you know why the scuba divers fall off backwards out of the boat?
No, Brandon, I don't know why they fall off.
Because if they
backwards.
fell forwards, they'd still be in the boat.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here.
Please.
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night.
All right.
Night.